Hello everyone, you are on the Jin Fiction channel. Before we start, please give a like and subscribe to the channel. I would be grateful to everyone. Also, subscribe on Boosty. Enjoy watching.
Quick, I need a heart specialist now. No good, I need someone working on her lower intestines also. Man, this girl took one hell of a beating. No chit-chat, if we don't get her stabilized in a minute then she is as good as gone. I need a soldier pill, stat. Damn, that bastard struck her kidneys. I don't know if we can save them. Kidneys, concentrate on the vitals. Her lungs are going to quit unless you start pouring more chakra into them now. Alright, damn. It had been a very long night. The med team had been working overtime to ensure that this young girl stayed alive. The most gravely injured out of all of the potential chunin had been undergoing surgery for hours. The internal damage had been tremendous. At first it had looked like a textbook case of internal hemorrhaging, nothing easy but not too hard either. But as they tried to get the blood stopped and the chakra started, they found that they could not do it. The blood stopped easily, but without her chakra flowing the blood would only be held as long as the doctor held it. Her body wasn't healing fast enough for her to survive. What now? It is almost like her chakra died before her body. I think we should call it a night. She doesn't have a chance. Does she have any family that might see her before she goes? They live on the other side of the village, and, strange as it sounds, none of them bothered to come. It's like they don't care. There is this young boy who has been waiting outside for hours now. He might want to see her. It may be a breach in protocol, but this girl deserves to be remembered by someone. Let the boy in. The other doctor left for a moment as the head surgeon began to wash his hands. There was no blood on them, but it gave the man some peace. All his work was done with chakra. Suddenly the door burst almost off its hinges as a blonde-headed kid ran in. Hinata. The youth looked around the room before locking eyes with the surgeon. Is she going to be okay? All the doctor could do was shake his head as the youth's eyes started to brim with tears. No. The blonde kid ran to the girl's side and buried his head into the operating table. It was my fault. I encouraged her to keep going and now it killed her. The boy was weeping now. The surgeon was almost ready to call the time of death when a surge of chakra came from behind him. He spun around to see the blonde-haired boy surrounded in a red glow. The boy was completely unaware of the red chakra pouring from his body. Suddenly, the chakra began pouring into the body of the girl. What the hell? The surgeon ran to get the other doctor. The young boy continued to weep. It was my fault. I killed her. Yes you did. And now I will bring her back. What? You don't think that I would, do you? Well, I am not all bad. After all, you and I were bonded together, and if it will end this damn emotional pain then I will heal her. Please, do it. If you do then I won't call you stupid anymore. Agreed. The doctors ran back into the room only a minute after the last had left to find the boy kneeling at the side of the girl. The girl appeared to be breathing heavily, but was obviously not dead. What the hell? Everyone get back to work, she might pull through now. The surgeon who had gotten the rest of the group walked over to the young man. Kid, I don't know what you did, but you are one hell of a lifesaver. What is your name? The kid didn't even look up. The doctor looked more closely at the boy and saw that he was asleep. Hey, Grants, get this kid to a bed. A young orderly picked up the boy and took him from the room. The surgeon watched as they went. Amazing, that kid is just amazing. Naruto awoke the next morning in a bed that wasn't his. He jumped from the bed with a kunai drawn, nearly startling a nurse passing by to death. Then he remembered what had happened. Kyubi, the doctor, Hinata. At that thought he ran down the hall to where he instinctively knew Hinata would be. Hinata, he shouted as he burst through the door. He was immediately stopped by a tall woman with black hair. Naruto knew this was Kurenai, Hinata's sensei. Naruto, what are you doing here? I came to make sure Hinata is alright. I was here before, so let me in, the doctors know me. Naruto tried to push past Kurenai, but he wasn't able to get past the Jonin level ninja. Naruto, Hinata is going to be just fine, so maybe you should just go home. Or start training. I know Hinata would be happy to hear that you have started training. No, I want to see Hinata. I was the only one to see her last night, so let me in. I need to know that she is okay. In case you didn't know, she was dying last night and I was the only one out here. Kurenai didn't know what to say. She had thought her apprentice to have no chance of survival. She had gone home to mourn, but when she had come today to collect the body she had found out that Hinata had healed an astounding amount. Naruto, did you have anything to do with this? Naruto, she isn't even awake. She won't be for at least a week. You will be the first one we contact when she does, okay? Man, you would think you had a crush on Hinata or something. Kurenai smiled slyly. What, I don't have a crush on her. I just felt kinda responsible for her injuries. Naruto, that is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. You can't possibly tell me you care nothing for her at all. If you didn't then you wouldn't have been here. As for you being responsible for her injuries, that is just as absurd. Neji almost killed her and even if you cheered her on that doesn't change on thing. I know Hinata, and I know that if you had stood by and just watched her she would have still fought to the death. The only way you could have prevented Hinata's injuries would be if you had never existed. If you hadn't been there, she might have forfeited at the beginning. Instead, she fought her hardest. Do you want to know why? Yes, but Naruto wasn't sure he really wanted to know why. It is because she wants to be able to catch your eye. She is trying her best so that she can be like you. She has always admired your courage and self-confidence. She has never had either of those and she loves you for it. She was attempting to make you look at her with respect at least, if not affection. Naruto was stunned. Someone loves me, she admires me, she has guts because she just wants to be like me. Kurenai, you know why everyone hates me, right? Does Hinata know? No, but I doubt that it would change her opinion of you. There are still many people who see you as the fourth wanted you to be seen. Naruto looked down at the ground. Now what, fool, boy, go train. Beat the fool who injured your vixen. Train so you can avenge her and fulfill your oath. Naruto raised his head and looked Kurenai in the eyes. I am going to go train. Find me when she is awake. I am going to kill Neji for injuring Hinata. Naruto ran off in the general direction of the exit. Kurenai stared after him before closing the door to Hinata's room. You have guts. I see what Hinata likes in you. I do not own any characters of Naruto, or Naruto in general. Chapter 2. Return and Reunion. Many years later. Naruto spotted Konoha in the distance. Finally, at last I am back in my hometown. I wonder if they all changed while I was away. Rasengan, hurry up. I want some ramen and you promised to buy when we got back. Jiraiya sighed. He was 50 feet behind the energetic Naruto and dragging badly. The kid can't memorize the shinobi code, but he remembers a promise I made all those years ago. Crazy. Naruto, stop calling me Rasengan. Call me the wonderful, handsome, powerful Toad Sage. Jiraiya tried to strike a pose but failed miserably as Naruto just stared at him. I can see the village, so I'm going to run ahead. Meet you at Tsunade's office, K. And with that, Naruto vanished. Jiraiya had grown accustomed to his apprentice's frequent vanishings. I have never seen a human so fast or strong. And his stamina. I would pay money to see this new Naruto participate in the Chunin exams now. Go figure that one of the most powerful ninja in the village is still just ranked as a genin. Naruto was almost to the village. I didn't even take off the weights. Naruto had spent 3 years training to build up his body. When Jiraiya had said that they would be doing taijutsu training, Naruto had remembered Lee's battle with Gaara. And now I have more than 10 times my regular body weight on each leg and arm. Let's just see who is the fastest now. As he approached the walls of the city he saw the gates wide open. I don't think they have seen me yet. Time for a little trick. Naruto disappeared into the forest. The rookie 9-3 were standing at the gate. Rock Lee and Ten were also there, as was Kakashi and Iruka. They had all heard from Tsunade that Konoha's most energetic ninja would be returning sometime that day. Sakura stood at the front of the group. She had not parted on the best of terms with Naruto 3 years ago. She had blamed him for not bringing back Sasuke and then he left her. She wasn't sure what she thought now. Her training with Tsunade had turned her into a proficient med-nin and she had also learned how to use chakra to enhance her own strength. Behind her Lee paced the gate, occasionally doing push-ups or other various exercises. He had recovered fully from his long-past fight with Gaara and had improved greatly since then. He still had a major crush on Sakura, but his training kept him away from her constantly. Kakashi was leaning against the side of the wall, reading Jiraiya's newest book. The rest of the rookie 9 were standing and sitting around, just waiting to see the new Naruto after 5 years of training with one of the most powerful ninja alive. It was a sobering though, that their original 9 was down to 6. Sasuke was still with Orochimaru and Hinata and Kiba were not there. Suddenly Sakura saw a figure in the distance. It looked like a severely wounded man crawling towards the city. Guys, there is someone coming, but it looks like he is hurt. Immediately everyone in the waiting group ran to the figure that had now collapsed on the ground. It was Naruto. His body was covered in blood, much of which was pouring out of his head and side. Sakura flipped him onto his back to examine him. His face was a mess. Naruto coughed up blood as he tried to speak. Ambush. Jiraiya. Gone. Sakura. Sakura had tears in her eyes as she assured him that she was here. The rest of the group looked on in horror at the scene. Sakura. Come closer. Sakura leaned her head towards Naruto. Sakura. Gotcha. Suddenly the shadow clone of Naruto exploded in a blast of blue paint. Everyone was completely covered. The real Naruto jumped out of a tree and landed next to the still kneeling Sakura who hadn't moved since the explosion. Too bad. And he was such a good-looking ninja, too. Sakura's eye twitched for a second before she used all of her strength to bash Naruto's head, causing him to fly over 100 meters into the city wall. Everyone, including Sakura, gasped and ran back to where Naruto was still sliding down the wall. Sakura caught him as he fell. As soon as she caught him, the clone exploded in another blast of paint, this time a bright yellow. Everyone just stared bug-eyed at the place where the Naruto clone had just been. Naruto. Sakura turned her head up to where she knew the original Naruto would be, and everyone saw the yellow-haired ninja laughing to the point of tears on top of the city wall. Wow, you guys rock. Here, that paint is just a genjutsu. Kai. Naruto released him genjutsu on the group and they went back to their normal colors. Kakashi was impressed. No one is usually able to pull off a genjutsu on me. Naruto has gotten much stronger than I thought he could be. Thanks for coming to meet me, everyone. It is good to know that people care about me. Who wants to go get some ramen? Jiraiya is paying. I need to head over to Tsunade's office first, but I will meet you all there. At that the ninjas cheered and started walking towards the ramen bar. Lee and Sakura stayed behind to walk with Naruto. Naruto smiled. These two were some of his most precious people. They started towards the Hokage Tower. Naruto, welcome back. You owe us all a ton of stories when we eat dinner. Yeah, I will plan on it. So, are you and Sakura dating? Yes, Naruto, we are. Good. I always thought he was a good guy for you, Sakura. Sakura was almost stunned by Naruto's attitude. When he had left years ago he was asking her out daily. Now he though Lee was a good guy for her. I bet you are wondering why I am not competing for you anymore. Let's just say I grew up a little and I respect your opinion more. Thanks Naruto. Still friends? Yeah, you bet. I just wish. Naruto trailed off and stared up at the sky. Sakura couldn't imagine what was going through his head. Naruto, is something wrong? No, yes, not to sound like I don't enjoy your company or anything, but I noticed that Kiba and Hinata weren't here. Kiba I could understand, but Hinata is like one of my favorite people in the world. Where are they? Shino was here, so they aren't on a mission. Sakura and Lee traded a glacé that Naruto knew could only mean something bad. Sakura decided to explain. Naruto, Hinata's team went on a mission a few weeks ago. Not many people know what happened on it, but when they came back, Kiba was dead. I think Hinata blames herself for it. No one can even talk to her. She just constantly trains now, and no one who has gone to talk to her even gets a response. She just trains. She wakes up in the morning and trains till she can't move on her own and someone from the Hyuga Manor is forced to pick her up and carry her home. Maybe you can get through to her. Naruto didn't know what to do. Hinata, I need to see her. Tell Tsunade that I will be there soon. Naruto started off in the direction of Team 6's training grounds. To his friends it looked like Naruto had simply vanished with a slight wind blowing in the direction he had headed. Lee's eyes bugged out. He might be faster than me. Naruto found Hinata at a stump in the training area. Hinata was in a Juken stance and was apparently hitting the stump in the place a human heart would be over and over again. Her hand was wrapped in cloth and bloody, and yet her strikes were faster than the human eye. Man, has she ever improved. If she had done this in the fight with Neji she would have won hands down. And man, that is not all she has improved. Naruto couldn't help but notice that Hinata had cast aside her bulky coat to reveal her looks. Naruto couldn't take his eyes off of her from his place in a tree above her. What she hides puts Sakura and Ino to shame. Why would she wear such a mask all of the time? She hides her beauty. Oh well, time to talk to her. Naruto jumped down from his tree right onto the top of the stump Hinata was hitting. Hey Hinata, did you miss me? Naruto gave a huge grin as Hinata landed on her backside. Naruto. Yeah, how are ya doing? I heard you were back here sulking and decided to get you to come with me for some ramen. Hinata looked to be in complete shock. When did he get back? Why wasn't I there to meet him? Hinata looked down at the ground. Naruto was getting worried. Come on. He jumped down and sat next to her. Tell me what this is all about. Your friends are worried about you. Friends. Kiba was a friend. Hinata's eyes began to fill with tears. I let him down. He died because of me. Everything was going perfectly. We just had to deliver a package to another village. I was doing AR, routine check of the surrounding area with Byakugan when I saw a small object in the ground ahead. It could have been anything, so I ignored it. When it turned out to be a bomb. Kiba got caught in the explosion. If I had just stopped and looked more closely at it, then he wouldn't be dead. I vowed that day that I would never ever let someone I cared for die again. I need to train until I am strong enough to protect my friends. Naruto continued to sit next to Hinata. Neither of them spoke for a long time. You know, Hinata, I made that same vow once. It was during the Land of the Waves mission I did. I vowed never to let harm come to one of my precious people. I have failed in that vow many times. It hurts when stuff happens like this, but you don't need continuously beat yourself up over it. No one is perfect, and everyone makes mistakes. It obviously wasn't completely your fault. Kiba should have smelled it. Shino could have sensed it. For all you know, it could have been protected by a genjutsu, making it impossible for you to concentrate on. So stop secluding yourself. You need to remember that you can be hurting your precious people when you ignore them like this. As for not being strong enough, well, that is crazy. I saw you practicing right there and I know that you are strong. When you fought Neji all those years ago, I knew you were strong. Strong of heart and of body. But, hey, I am back and we are both okay. So let's go get some ramen. I am starved and Tsunade is waiting for me. Naruto jumped to his feet. Please meet me there, okay? I have to see Tsunade first. Naruto vanished into thin air. Hinata sat where she had fallen. So I shouldn't beat myself up over it. I need to get over it. I can do this. Wait, did Naruto ask me to get ramen with him? Like a date? At that thought, Hinata went bug-eyed and passed out. Naruto made it to Tsunade's office at the same time as Jiraiya. Tsunade had them admitted. Hey, Tsunade Bakken, how has Konoha done without me? Tsunade's eye gave a twitch. Naruto, so you haven't changed much, have you? I thought the point was to get you away from distractions so you could train. Tell me, Jiraiya, why he is still immature. Jiraiya cringed. Tsunade, beautiful, believe me, this kid has trained and he has changed. He might not be the most mature ninja you'll find, but there is no one his age even close to his level now. Tsunade raised an eyebrow and Naruto put a pouting face on. Yeah, Tsunade, I bet I could even beat you now. And remember, I don't make bets I can't keep. Just let me enter the Chunin exams next week and I will total show everyone up. Believe it. Tsunade looked at her desk and the paperwork on it. Well, Naruto, it appears that you don't have a team with which to participate with. You need a team and I don't know how you can get one. Naruto's face fell. Except that I know of an exception you might want to take advantage of. If a teamless genin wishes to participate in the Chunin exams, then they can gather a team of 2 other genin and form a temporary team. Now I know you will want to do this, so I compiled a list of the available genin. The best choices you could make are probably the last 2 members of the rookie 9 to not make Chunin. Hinata Hyuga and Sakura RHFGHFGHSH. If you wish to tell them of the plan, go ahead. I will be able to fill out the paperwork tomorrow. Now, I want you and Jiraiya to give me a brief overview of what you have accomplished. Jiraiya took a seat in one of the chairs. This brief overview is going to be longer than you know. Here is the short of it, and then Naruto can go. Naruto has learned an advanced form of taijutsu, similar to Rock Lee's style but much, much faster. He has increased his chakra control to the level of myself or maybe better. He has mastered every possible wind element jutsu I could find for him to learn, and he made many other ones. He has strength, speed, and stamina to beat any ninja I know of. He has also made advances in his ability to control the Kyuubi's power. I will let Naruto explain that. Okay, you know how I can sometimes draw on the Kyuubi's power. Well, I can now draw on it at will. You see, I had a talk with the Kyuubi a year ago that changed everything. 1 year ago. Naruto sat meditating. Jiraiya had gone off to do research, leaving Naruto with instructions to try to contact Kyuubi. Damn fox, you have caused me so much trouble. But on the other hand, without you I would be dead many times over. Come out, fox. Yeah kid, if this has anything to do with that loss against the Uchiha brat 2 years ago then I don't care. You lost that yourself. We had him and them you lost because you didn't take the shot. I want to talk about this relationship we have. Oh, so now you care about what this means to both of us. Okay, but I will only tell you of this because it will increase my own survival. We are bonded together by the seal in your stomach, and there is no way to separate us. This benefits you greatly, though you have barely taken advantage of it. Well, it's not like you would try to take over M body every time I did. Oh, wait, you did. You had no idea on how to use the power back then. You probably would have killed yourself. My safety is my highest concern. And now I can handle it. Yes, inside of you my chakra awaits. You have felt it before, so find it now. Feel the power of my chakra. It is yours to use. Draw on it as much as you want. Keep in mind that increasing amounts might change your physical looks more than just the eyes. If you were to ever draw 6 tails of my chakra, then you would permanently change eye color and shape. Chakra, being the essence of a soul, shapes the body. If my chakra is what you course through your body then it will eventually become more like mine. Channel my chakra into your senses and you will have the senses of a fox. Also, due to my chakra's nature, you will be able to create more powerful fire jutsu. Mixing it with your own wind jutsus would prove very beneficial, I think. Thanks. Oh, and if you have any more advice you can just pop in and give it. I plan on it. Naruto rose from his meditation and immediately tried his new skills. Red chakra rose like a flame around his body. Jiraiya was in a town nearly 5 kilometers away when he sensed the chakra signature from where he had left Naruto. What the hell is going on? Naruto. From his place in a tree he had the perfect view for what came next. An explosion almost a kilometer in diameter erupted from the forest, but as it reached its maximum spread it seemed to contract rather than fade away. The explosion shrank out of Jiraiya's view, leaving only a large burned clearing in its place. Naruto. Jiraiya rushed towards the epicenter of the explosion. When he arrived he saw Naruto. Yeah, that rocked. Naruto was jumping in the air and pumping his fist. Jiraiya wasn't even noticed until Naruto turned around. Arrow Sennin, did you see that? It was awesome. I managed to talk to the Kyuubi and he has given me full access to his chakra. All I did was try a combination wind-fire rasengan and that sucker happened, but I was also using Kyuubi chakra so I wasn't even hurt. This total rocks. Present. So now I can do a little more than just shove a ball of chakra into a person. I can vaporize any ninja in a 3-kilo radius. Pretty cool, huh? So now can I go get some ramen? My friends are waiting. I will be back to sign up tomorrow, okay? Bye. Naruto completely vanished leaving a stunned Tsunade and a smiling Jiraiya. You see, Tsunade. He has grown. That kid can beat any ninja I know without breaking a sweat. I can't wait to see the look on Itachi Uchiha's and Orochimaru's faces when they get owned by a 17-year-old genin. Or chunin, as it turns out he will be in a few weeks. Was that wise of you to tell him to get the Kyuubi's chakra available to him? I would place my life at his hands and his control over it. He used to be a loose cannon, but he has had a year to practice control. I haven't died yet, though on some occasions I came damn close. Well, at least he is on our side. Naruto arrived at the new ramen restaurant, upgraded from a stand due to one young ninja's patronage, to see all of his friends already eating. All except Hinata. Naruto sighed a little before opening the door. I wish she would have come. There is something about her. Suddenly he was tackled from behind and sent flying into the restaurant. All of his friends turned to see Naruto and his assailant tangled on the floor. They all started laughing when they realized who it was. Naruto had ended up on top of the shyest ninja in Konoha, and the only ninja to happen to love the one who was one top of her. Before Naruto even had a chance to realize who had bowled him over, Hinata Hyuga had passed out. Shoot, guys, she fainted. Get a doctor or something. No one in the entire place could stop laughing. Naruto was the only one who seemed to be out of the worst-kept secret love in the history of the world. Sakura walked over to Naruto, still laughing, and tried to explain. Okay, Naruto, so she passed out. How many times has that happened? To tell you the truth, haven't you noticed anything over the years about Hinata? Maybe the fact that she seems to always be so shy around you. Or maybe the fact that she is the kindest ninja in the city. Or maybe the fact that Hinata gave you ointment she made for her team after your fight with Kiba. Maybe you would remember how your cheers made her battle with Neji a fight worthy of stories. Or how she always looks at you, or how she tries to be like you in everything she does. She loves me. Yeah, she loves you. Wait, you knew. Everyone in the place stopped laughing. Suddenly they were staring at Naruto. Naruto, if you knew then why didn't you do anything about it? It's not like that, I just didn't know how I felt back. I used to think I loved you. I figured out later that I really didn't, but with that realization came the fact that I don't even know what love is. She obviously loves me but I don't even know how to love. Naruto looked down at the girl he was holding in his arms. Even if I had feelings for her there is no way I could express them. I trained myself for years to hide them. No one spoke. Even Choji stopped eating. Lee was the only one who had the nerve to speak. Naruto, change can happen. We all heard stories while you were gone. Stories of how you were beaten as a kid, of how you never had parents, of how, for some reason, the whole city hated you. That is no longer true. Only a few people in the city still don't respect you, at the very least as an adversary. I think it is time you start thinking of letting some feelings out. Even if you don't know if you love Hinata, you should at least give her a chance. I know, without a doubt in my mind, that if you had never been a part of Hinata's life she would not be even close to the level she is now. In fact, I think none of us would be. At that everyone nodded. Naruto, Hinata was starting to wake up. Suddenly she sat straight up in Naruto's arms. Naruto. Then she realized that everyone was staring at her and blushed red as a beet. She didn't see Naruto under her even though she was sitting on him. Sorry everyone. What happened? Why am I in here? Hello Hinata. Sakura had an evil grin on her face. Well, first you ignore us for weeks and now you come in here and knock Naruto onto the ground. Maybe you should consider giving him up if you intend to kill him. But then again they say you always hurt the one you love. Hinata looked horrified. Did I really do that? Is Naruto hurt? Where is he? Hinata, on whose lap do you think you are sitting? If Hinata's face could look any more horrified than it did it suddenly turned it. She slowly turned her head to look behind her and saw the smiling face of Naruto. Hi Hinata, glad you could come. Hinata couldn't even breathe. She didn't pass out again, but she froze up to the point where she looked like if she were dropped, she would shatter. So, Hinata, I was wondering if you and Sakura, being the only other people not Chunin yet, could join me on a team in the upcoming Chunin exams. If you can, just give me a blink. Hinata blinked. Great, come to Tsunade's office tomorrow and then we can start training as a team later. Hinata blinked again. I knew you would say yes, thanks Hinata. How about you, Sakura? Do you want to team again and reach Chunin this time? Sakura teared up. She hadn't been allowed to participate for the last 5 years because of not having a team that could fit her in. Hell yeah, I'm in. Good, I want to see both of you at Tsunade's office at 7 tomorrow. Okay Hinata. Hinata still hadn't moved since seeing that she was sitting in Naruto's lap. She just blinked again. Great, and maybe after that I can take you to a scenic spot outside of town and we can tell each other our innermost feelings concerning each other. Naruto gave her a little kiss on her cheek. That was the push over the edge. Hinata's eyes rolled back in her head as she slumped into Naruto's lap again. Everyone in the restaurant was laughing again. Naruto just gave a little smile. First kiss. Hinata woke up in her own bed back in her house as the sun rose. Time to train, need to avenge Kiba's death. Wait, Naruto is back. Suddenly the past day came back to her. The talk at the training grounds, her running into him at the ramen bar, him asking her to be on his team, him kissing her. She shook her head. No, That didn't happen. Just a dream. I guess that I'll just head over to Tsunade's early. Hinata got dressed in her usual garb. She wore a long coat that hid all of her features and wore her hair long, almost waist length now. Inside the coat she kept her supply of kunai and shuriken. As she headed out of her house she started humming a tune. She hadn't felt this good in ages. And why shouldn't I? Naruto wants me on his team. I don't care if it is even just so he can get Chunin. I was willing to let him cheat the last time we took it together so he could pass. I just want to help Naruto succeed in his dream. Maybe be a part of them too. Hinata was almost at the Hokage Tower when she spotted Sakura walking in the same direction. Sakura seemed to spot her at the same time and gave her a wave. They met only a few steps later. Morning Hinata. That was sure a crazy day yesterday, huh? Yes, it was. I am glad Naruto is back. I bet that is not all you are happy about, What do you mean? Oh, you know, that kiss. Hinata froze in mid-step and her face became ever paler than it normally was. Wait, that was real. Sakura started laughing as Hinata went from the shade of a ghost and became a tomato. Now, don't pass out on me Hinata. Of course it was real. You know that he is worried a lot when you passed out after bowling him over. Not only did he kiss you, but I heard him ask you on a date tonight. Hinata was suddenly being dragged along by Sakura. Now come on or we'll be late. So all that stuff yesterday was real. Naruto really kissed me. He really asked me out. Am I going crazy or is this my dream come true? I must be going crazy. But it is a good crazy. The two girls walked, well, Sakura walked and Hinata was dragged, into Tsunade's office and Naruto greeted them. Hey, morning. All we have to do is sign some papers and we are in. Hey, Hinata, are you okay? You look like you're in a daze, or something. Hinata just stared at him and shook her head. She had a wistful smile painted on her face. I am fine, Naruto. Wow, Hinata, that was probably the first time you didn't stutter while talking to me. Oh, yeah. Tsunade passed out the forms to the potential Chunin. Alright, just sign them and bring them to room 301 of the Ninja Academy in exactly 1 week. The exam has been moved up a bit, due to the large amount of qualified entrants in the cage's schedule. I expect you all to do well. If Jiraiya is right then I will be expecting you to win, Naruto. Yeah, I will. Naruto had a cool confidence in his voice. I just hope no idiots interrupt it like last time. Now we are going to go train, okay. Bye Ba-chan. Naruto left while Sakura and Hinata followed, leaving Tsunade in her office alone. She pulled out a bottle of sake. Cheers, Naruto. I know you will do well. Naruto stopped walking when the three reached a spot far into the woods outside the city. He removed a pack he had been wearing and set it next to a rock. Okay, I guess we need to train as a team. We are all capable by ourselves, but, while Sakura and I have worked together and I have worked with Hinata, we haven't all worked as a group. I don't exactly know how we are going to train as a team without a mission, so I asked Kakashi to come give us the bell test. Sakura groaned and Hinata just stood there confused. Naruto, what is the bell test? Sakura answered, it is where Kakashi-sensei has 2 bells and we try to get them away from him. It is not easy. Last time we did it none of us got a bell. Hey Naruto. Naruto was doing some basic stretches and he looked up. Naruto, you know he is going to be at least an hour late. Naruto smiled. He would be if I told him to get here now, but I told him an hour ago. He is in the tree above you right now. Hinata squeaked as Kakashi appeared before the trio in a puff of smoke. He was still reading Jiraiya's latest novel. That was a pretty smooth trick Naruto. I would ask how you knew I was up there, but I really don't care. How about I get this started? Kakashi took 3 bells from his pocket. You all know the lesson intended by the 2-bell game. Now you all need a bell and I will do my absolute best to stop you from getting one. He pocketed his book. You have until noon, it is now 9, begin. Immediately Hinata and Sakura bounded off in different directions. Naruto, though, stayed put. Going for a repeat of last time, huh Naruto? Naruto just put his hands behind his head. Nah, this time I am going to see what my teammates can do on their own. We will get together at, around 10. So I'll just wait on this rock here. Naruto sat down on the rock next to his pack. Kakashi just stared at him. What is that kid thinking? He is willing to just blow an hour so he can better understand his teammates. I better keep an eye on him. Suddenly Hinata burst from a tree limb and came flying towards him. Kakashi dodged her Juken strikes and countered with his own kick to her head. She flew into a tree, but disappeared as she hit. Kakashi suddenly felt his feet grabbed. Sakura used her chakra-like scalpels and cut the tendons in Kakashi's legs. Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke, revealing a log. Sakura jumped from the ground and scanned the area. Hinata jumped to her side. Sakura, he made water clones. 3 Kakashis came out of the surrounding area and Hinata stood back to back with Sakura. Naruto continued to just watch. One of the Kakashis made the hand signs for a jutsu. Hinata jumped in front of Sakura. Fire style. Phoenix flower jutsu. Kaden. 5 large fireballs came out of Kakashi's mouth and converged on the 2 girls. Hinata, though, had begun to spin. As she spun she released chakra from her body creating a shield. Her Kaden was perfectly made and caught the fire on it and sent it back to its source. The Kakashi water clone instantly evaporated in the intense heat. The second and third Kakashis each pulled out kunai. Sakura took the attack this time, pulling out 2 kunai of her own. The 2 clashed against Sakura. Sakura used her muscle-enhancing techniques learned from Tsunade to force the water clones back. The 2 regrouped and once again stood at the ready. Sakura, though, just smiled and dropped her own kunai. She held out arms to her opponents, and then drew them both back suddenly. The kunai her opponents were holding leapt from their hands. Sakura then whipped her arms out again, catching the clones in her chakra wire. They were specially made so Sakura could control where the 4 strands went with her chakra at any time and only her specific chakra would be able to control them. She clenched her hands into fists and the 2 clones were shredded. Naruto was standing on his rock, now, clapping. Wow, that was great, you both have improved so much while I was gone. Now let me show you how much I have improved. Naruto disappeared off of his rock. A second later Kakashi came flying into the clearing and into a tree. Damn, that kid is strong. Kakashi removed his headband from his eye, revealing the Sharingan. Alright you 3, time to get serious. He charged Hinata first. He threw a punch that would have caught her completely off guard and might have knocked her out, but instantly Naruto's arm was blocking the blow. How the hell? The kid was 30 feet away a second ago. Naruto suddenly began a flurry of punches all aimed at Kakashi. Kakashi couldn't keep up. He could see where Naruto would strike and try to block it, but Naruto was just too fast. For each one he blocked, 2 got through. Naruto gave Kakashi a kick in the chest that sent him back 10 meters, but Kakashi still stood. Sensei, I haven't even taken off my weights. Naruto started the attack again, except this time he would punch Kakashi once and then just jingle the bells on Kakashi's belt with his hand. Kakashi still couldn't keep up with Naruto's attacks, let alone protect the bells. Naruto suddenly jumped back to stand with an amazed Hinata and Sakura. Now, it really doesn't matter whether we can or can't get the bells. I really just wanted to know what my team could do so I could develop some strategy. Here, Naruto threw the 3 bells back to Kakashi. He held them in his hand and then looked at his belt, where there were 3 more. I took them and replaced them with bells from my pack the instant you said go. It is a jutsu I learned from Jiraiya. Apparently only the 4th had mastered it before I did. It allows me to use 30 seconds of my time in the space of everyone else's 1 second. Cool, huh, okay, well thanks Kakashi-sensei. We need to go over some strategy now, so we would appreciate it if you left. Kakashi was still staring at the bells. Damn, that kid is good. 5 years and now he can waste me. Maybe I should go train with Jiraiya. Well, Naruto, I can't say this wasn't an enlightening experience. In fact, I would say you are Jonin level right now. Good luck in the exam. All of you have my compliments on your abilities and, rest assured, I will be watching you in the finals. Kakashi poofed away with a bow. Naruto turned back to his gaping teammates. What? Naruto, that was amazing. How the hell did you do that? You just showed up one of the city's best ninja in a straight-on fist fight. Sakura was raving while Hinata just looked at Naruto. Wow, he is amazing. How can I even deserve to stand by him, let alone be on his team? Naruto gave a big smile as he put his arms over his head. I have been training almost non-stop since leaving 5 years ago. Yeah, but to grow from a genin ninja to an advanced jonin in 5 years is amazing. Yeah, Hinata was having doubts about her ability to help Naruto achieve his dreams. How am I supposed to help someone who doesn't need help to do anything? Naruto failed to notice Hinata's slightly downcast face, so he just sat and then motioned for them to do the same. Alright, we know the layout of the test. Written, survival, duels. So we just need a strategy for each. The test is first. I won't have any trouble cheating at all with my technique. I can move faster than any human I can track. Hinata, you should be able to get answers with your Byakugan from me or one of the Jonin plants. Sakura, I don't know how you intend to cheat. Oh, I will do just fine. Believe it or not, I found a copy of the questions in Tsunade's office. I figured since the whole point was an information gathering exercise I might as well start early. I memorized the answers and left the sheet. If they turn out to be wrong then I will still get by. I got through the first time after all. Okay, so now the survival test. This one should be easy for us. If that battle with Kakashi was any indication then we are going to outrank most if not all of the entrants. I vote that Hinata hold the scroll. W. What? W. Why me? Because, out of the three of us you appear to be the weakest, but we know that you are fully capable of keeping it safe. Don't worry, it won't be like you are left alone. I promise that, just like Kakashi's punch, I won't let anyone touch you. Hinata looked Naruto in the eyes then, and saw something she hadn't noticed before. It was a seriousness that he had never shown before except when he had talked to her about Kiba's death. I believe you, Naruto. Naruto gave a small blush. Well, okay then. Here is the plan. Can you both walk on water? They nodded. Good, I think we should take the river entrance. Then we can run the river until we reach the tower. I happen to know that at least 3 teams specializing in water jutsu will be in this exam. They will obviously come after us. When they do we will be able to get the other scroll. The third test I don't think we need any strategy for. You are both capable of reaching the finals. So I will see you in the winner's circle. Okay, are we done for today? I want to start training my healing jutsus for the forest. Yeah, but could you stay Hinata? Sakura ran off and threw a wave over her shoulder. Finally those two are getting together. Hinata was lightly blushing as Sakura disappeared into the forest. What is he going to say? What am I going to say? Why am I not passing out? Oh, please let me pass out. Naruto was sitting a few feet from Hinata and looking right at her. Hinata couldn't even look him in his eyes. They are so beautiful. Why does he have to look at me like this? Wait, isn't this what I have always wanted? Hinata looked up at Naruto's face with a deep blush. His eyes are so beautiful. She didn't know that that was the exact thought that was in Naruto's mind also. Hinata, I really want you to tell you something. It is kind of a secret. I won't tell anyone your secret, Naruto. Hinata knew all about keeping secrets. She had tried to keep her love for Naruto secret for almost 10 years. Okay, I need to tell you something before. Well, I just need to tell you. You know when my birthday is, right? Hinata nodded. Well, do you know what else happened on that day? The Kyuubi attacked. Yeah, and the books all say that he was killed by the fourth in a sacrificial jutsu that killed both of them. The reason they say that is not because that is the truth. They say it because the real story is an S-ranked secret, one only I am allowed to tell to anyone on penalty of death. What actually happened that day was that the fourth performed a sealing jutsu, because that hive demon could not be killed by mortals. The demon would need to be sealed in a living creature that had highly enhanced chakra coils. So that limited the seal bearers to humans, no plants or animals. The chakra coils couldn't be too developed or the human would die in the sealing. So they chose a brand new child to do the ritual. I was that child. They sealed the Kyuubi in me. So now the Kyuubi lives in me. These marks on my cheeks are not my own creation, they are side effects of his chakra in my body. When I defeated Neji it was the Kyuubi's chakra that allowed me to unseal my tenketsu and win. This is why the village hates me. I contain the killer of countless mothers, wives, fathers, sons and daughters. I wanted to tell you because I know you like me. If you don't anymore, that's okay. Naruto was looking at the ground now. Hinata sat in her place where she stared at Naruto. This explains everything. The beatings, the evil looks, the hatred. Everything that I hated about how people treated Naruto. Because of something he didn't even do or even had a choice in. Naruto, why did you assume I wouldn't like you after you told me that? If anything, your story just makes me like you more. Naruto looked up at Hinata with surprise. She was now on her knees in front of Naruto. The way I see it, you are the savior of the village many times over now. You saved us at birth and saved us from Gaara. You shouldn't be treated as anything less than a hero. You are not the Kyuubi, you are the Cage. People just don't see you for who you are. You are the bravest and strongest ninja ever in my eyes, and this only increases my opinion of you. Really, Hinata? Yes. You know, I have never thought about ever actually getting close to someone before. You are the only one who I have told this to. I was afraid that you would hate me like the others did. You rock, Hinata. Naruto leaned forward from his seat and planted a small kiss directly on Hinata's lips. Hinata felt her body go stiff, and then she went completely limp. Hinata passed out. Wow, I guess she really likes me. Naruto and his team were ready. They had trained as a team for 1 week and found that they all worked like clockwork together. They walked up a flight of stairs and immediately saw a large group of contenders standing in front of the room marked 301. Naruto motioned for his team to move with him to the front. When they got to the front of the group, they saw exactly what they had seen 5 years ago. A couple of planted testers had used a genjutsu to change the door's number. Naruto smiled to himself. Hey, you two, maybe you should go home now. I mean, if your genjutsu is this bad, you might as well give up now. Kai. Suddenly the number above the door read 201. The genin teams waiting to get in saw this and immediately ran up the stairs to the next level. The two plants were left with Naruto. Hey, that wasn't very nice. Maybe you should be taught some manners. The one who had been speaking threw a punch at Naruto. Naruto ducked the extremely fast punch and backed off a little. As much as I would enjoy kicking your two butts, my teammates and I have an exam to take. If you intend to take it, then you might want to hurry up yourself. Naruto and his teammates walked up the stairs to the next floor. Haha, you totally got schooled by some loser genin. What, did you see that kid? He was fast. Shut up about that or you might find yourself owned by this loser. Naruto, Hinata and Sakura all arrived in the testing room and took their seats. Naruto smiled. Their seats couldn't be in better spots. Hinata as in the clear back of the room where she could see everyone's papers with Byakugan. Sakura was directly behind Naruto and Naruto was in the front and center of the room. The ultimate test for my time-altering jutsu. The test proctor came into the room only a few seconds after the three were seated. Ibiki took his place directly in front of Naruto and began the explanation. It appears that we have many entrants into this year's exam. Over 200 it seems. This part of the exam will be written. The first 9 questions are on your papers in front of you. The 10th question will be asked by me at the end of the test. Each question is worth 1 point. If you are caught cheating, then you will lose 2 points. If, at any point, one member of your team drops below 0 points, your entire team will be disqualified. The test begins now. An hour had passed since the beginning of the test. Naruto had all of the answers written down and Hinata had given him the signal that she had all of her answers also. Sakura had found out early on that the test she had memorized had been a fake. She had, instead, covertly attached chakra strings to one of the planted correct ninjas' hands. She was now mimicking their every move and had most of the answers already. Sakura had just given Naruto the signal that she had all of the answers just as Ibuki returned to give the 10th question. It had been a grueling first test and over half of the entrants had been eliminated. Only a little more than 100 remained. I am surprised to see so many of you still here. This last question will be different than the others. When he was done explaining the last rule, the one about if a person incorrectly answers the last question then they are forbidden from ever entering again, many people got up. Only 60 were left. Congratulations, then, the remaining people here pass. Naruto tuned out the teacher. He was busy scouting his opponents. Earlier he had noticed 3 ninjas from the hidden village in the mist. They all looked like formidable water jutsu users. One, Naruto assumed was the leader, carried a sword larger than the one that he had seen Itachi's friend carry. Another group of ninjas were from Konoha, but had come up after Naruto had left. They seemed to be very well trained and Naruto assumed that they were probably Guy Sensei's new students based on one of their haircuts. That guy has no idea how weird he is. And he has a bad influence on children, too. The leader of the team was cloaked so Naruto did not see the face. It was a girl, younger than Hinata by many years. Naruto knew that she would be trouble by the way she carried herself. Another team from Konoha was there, but Naruto didn't recognize the ninjas. Strange. They look very familiar. The last team Naruto had paid any attention to was a team from Sound. Apparently they had been allowed to come, but had been under guard 24/7 and would be until the end of the exam excluding the Forest of Death portion. They were unlike the trio Naruto had seen in the previous exam. They appeared to be specialists in earth jutsus from the looks of their clothes and weapons. They appeared to be very formidable. Hinata could probably take 2 of them, though. The leader of that group was taller than Naruto was. He was 6 foot of solid muscle and looked ready to crush rocks with his eyebrows. Tough, but I am prepared for guys like him. Suddenly, a person curled up in a ball flew through a window and made a perfect landing directly on top of Naruto's desk. Anko stood in front of Naruto and told everyone to follow her. 1 down. 2 to go. Naruto and his team stood in front of their gate to the Forbidden Forest. Well team, same rules as last time. No splitting up. Remember that Hinata has an earth scroll and anyone in this forest might have a heaven scroll. I want to avoid all contact with other teams unless absolutely necessary. Hinata. Yeah. If we do run into another team I want you to check and see if they have a heaven scroll. If they don't, then we run. I don't feel like killing people we don't need to. Okay, let's go. The 3 ninja jumped through the gate and onto the river. Naruto had taught them how to run extremely fast on water earlier that week. The trick was to alter the chakra on the feet until the feet could stay on the top of the water, but the traction would be whatever you wanted. They had practiced many hours before finally learning how to skate across the water at speeds up 2 times the speed of a fast shinobi on ground. The 3 appeared to be jetting up the river with large plumes of water shooting out behind them. Naruto set the pace. He knew that they would be able to reach the tower by the middle of the 2nd day at this rate. It was only an hour in when Hinata waved at Naruto. They kept running but Hinata came up next to him. Naruto, there are 3 ninja following us on the side of the river. I can't tell much more than that though. Sorry. Naruto just smiled and had them stop in the middle of the river. Hinata could see the ones following much clearer now. In fact, they came out onto the river to meet the team. It was an all-female team from the village of Sand. Well, look what we've found here, girls. A poor little boy with 2 little girls who have got themselves lost. I bet they even have some extra weight that we might relieve them of. The one that appeared to be the leader pulled out an earth scroll. Maybe they have the pair to this one, Nope, sorry. Hinata gave a shy smile as she pulled out an earth scroll from her pouch. We got 1, too. The leader of the Sand team just shrugged. Like I care which you have. I'll use the one we get from you as insurance. She motioned for her 2 teammates to circle the team. You could just give it up. If you do then we won't kill you. Which would be a shame, because the boy is really cute. The girl gave an evil smile. Naruto returned the evil smile. Yeah, I would say the same to you guys but it appears that we have no reason to fight you and you aren't really that cute. After all, why would we fight someone who had no scroll? The girl suddenly realized that where she had once had her scroll she was now holding a stick. What? Maybe you should pay more attention to the ones you pick fights with. I was the one who fought off Gaara in the exam 5 years ago. How did you intend to kill me? Hinata and Sakura had already started down the river at a much faster pace than before. I will let you live, but in return you should learn that there are ways to win other than killing. You might even learn the same lesson I taught Gaara, that everything you do in life means nothing without friends. Bye now. Naruto took off after his teammates. The leader of the Sand group collapsed to her knees in the middle of the river. Wow, that cute guy was fast. But it's not over yet. Her team went back into the forest to feed off of smaller prey. Naruto and company halted for the night just outside of the tower. They had made excellent time since the encounter with the Sand team and had decided to go the complete distance that day. No one had ever made it this far in the first day. Naruto had grabbed some fish from the stream and cooked them for his team. They all sat around a fire eating their delicious meal and talking about what to do next. Naruto, Hinata spoke up, I think that we should go find another team from Konoha. If they need an earth scroll then we could give them our extra. We could also help them if they run into anything out of their league. Why would we want to do that? Remember that talk that the Hokage gave last time? I wasn't there, but Shino told me about it. This is about village pride also. If we helped our village's other team into the finals then that would mean more missions get sent to our city. That sounds like a solid reason if I ever heard one. Tomorrow we will go find one of the other teams. I doubt that they need our help anyway. I sensed during the test that they one group was going to some of the top competitors. Here, both of you get some sleep. I will take first watch. I don't sleep much anyway. Hinata knew why he didn't sleep anymore, but she didn't say anything as she curled up on a soft bed of leaves. Good night, Naruto. Good night, Hinata. Naruto watched Hinata as she fell asleep. Like an angel, Sakura, who was on the other side of Naruto, watched the pair as one slept and the other watched. You like her, don't you? Naruto almost jumped out of his skin. Sakura, I thought you were asleep. So? Yes, I do like her. More and more every day. That thing she did today would have stopped any other team cold. I don't know what love feels like, but this has to be close. Sakura, you should get to sleep. Yeah, just don't do any fooling around while I'm here. What? Night. Where the hell are we, Konohamaru? I don't know. Ask the one with the map. It is not like a map does any good without landmarks. Look, I think we passed that last tree at least 5 times now. Ow, alright, let's just stop and reorient ourselves. The other team from Konoha wasn't having as easy of time as Naruto would have guessed. Naruto's team had been following them for almost 3 hours. Man, I can't believe how much that group has grown in 3 years. I didn't even recognize them. Konohamaru was the apparent leader of the group. He still wore the blue goggles he had gotten to imitate Naruto, as did his entire team. He had a katana strapped to his thigh and was very effective with it in cutting the thick vegetation. His teammate and heckler, Moegi, was very fast and powerful for her size. Her movements set her apart as the team's taijutsu and weapons expert. Udon, the last member of their team, was an excellent medic. It appeared as if he had trained with Tsunade, because he knew the chakra scalpels technique. Sakura said she had seen him once or twice with Tsunade. So far the team of advanced genins hadn't stepped in. Hinata tapped Naruto on his shoulder. It looks like the time for waiting is over. A team of tough-looking ninjas jumped into the small clearing where Konohamaru's team sat. Looks like we have found a team of weaklings who need a break. I say we give them a break. In fact, let's give them breaks all over their bodies. The ninja who had been talking suddenly performed a series of hand signs. Earth style. Rock needles. A line of razor-sharp rocks ran out from the point where the attacker stood to where Moegi sat. She quickly flipped into a tree as the rock she had been sitting on burst into fragments. Konohamaru countered the jutsu with his own shadow clone jutsu. Suddenly 4 Konohamarus surrounded the newcomers. A fight ensued that lasted maybe 10 seconds. In the end, though, the attacker still stood and the real Konohamaru was beaten back. He stood breathing heavily as the 3 ninjas surrounded him. Then one of the attackers fell to the ground screaming. Udon had cut all of the tendons in his ankles from under the ground. He popped out of the ground to finish the attack, but was kicked in the stomach by another one of the Cloud Ninjas. He slammed into a tree with a grunt and was knocked out cold. The 2 remaining attackers were more on guard now, and when Moegi came flying out of nowhere they were able to block her attack and throw her into the same tree as her teammate. Only Konohamaru still stood. Now, little boy, just give us your scroll and we might let you and your little friends live. Konohamaru tried to throw a punch at the talker, but it was easily blocked and Konohamaru found himself flying into the same tree as his team. Fool, now let's grab their scroll. Konohamaru was struggling to his feet. Oh, still want some more, If you think you can just walk in here and hurt my friends and get away with it, you have another thing coming. Suddenly Konohamaru was standing behind 3 ninjas that hadn't been there before. Hey, Konohamaru, take care of your friends. My team and I will wipe the floor with these losers. Naruto, Konohamaru watched as his idol and rival made hand signs he had never seen. Fire style. Rasengan. A ball of swirling fire grew in Naruto's hand until it was the size of a person's head. Naruto then seemed to disappear before instantly reappearing in front of the leader of the opposing team. Naruto shoved the ball into the ninja's chest. Instantly the man burst into flames and flew backward through 3 trees and into a rock, cracking it. His teammate that was still able to move was gone before their leader had even hit the second tree. Naruto turned around to face his one-time rival. He was holding a heaven scroll in his hand. Well, I can't imagine why you would want this, cause you already have one. So, for softening these guys up for us we will take this heaven scroll and you can have this earth scroll. Fair, good. And once your friends come out of their dream worlds, we can show you how to get to that tower. Why are you going to help us? We just lost to another team. We don't deserve your help. With an attitude like that, you don't deserve anything. So what if you lost? Does losing once make you permanently a loser? No. If that was true, then every person in the world is a loser. Learn from your mistakes, grow more powerful, and don't lose the same way again. I am going to mark the trail to the tower and then watch over you until you reach it. After all, what are friends for? Sakura will help heal your friends. Naruto jumped away into the trees and began the long process of making a trail. Hinata is right, being helpful will help the village, but it also makes me feel good. I just hope I don't have to face Konohamaru or his friends in the prelims or finals. Naruto and his team made it to the tower early the next day. They were about to enter the doors, with Team Konohamaru on their heels, when the other team from Konoha appeared in front of them. The hooded girl, obviously the leader and a competent ninja, spoke. "Give us an earth scroll and you may go unharmed." Hinata gasped. That voice, I didn't want to have to fight her here. The girl removed her hood. Hanabi Hyuga stood in the two teams' way. Naruto smiled at the serious Hyuga. No offense, Hinata's sister, but I doubt that you could even take out the weakest member of my team, let alone all 6 of us. Not so, I win every sparring match I fight in with my sister. So, Hanabi looked surprised at Naruto's blatant question. Just because you can beat Hinata in a sparring match using only taijutsu doesn't mean you could even touch her in the field. I would put my entire bank account on Hinata in an actual fight between you and her. Besides, there is no weakest member of my team. Now get out of my way and you might make it to the preliminaries off of someone else's scroll. Naruto started to walk past the now angry Hyuga. Hanabi was furious at Naruto's lack of respect. Hinata was the only one to see the attack coming. Naruto, watch out! Hanabi struck Naruto's side as he passed her. Her follow-up punch hit Naruto's heart and so did the next 10. Naruto collapsed to his knees and coughed up blood. Hinata gasped with her hand at her mouth. That will teach you to show me respect. I am the most powerful of all of the Hyuga. In the last seconds of your life you should remember that. Hardly. Everyone in the clearing looked up into the trees. Naruto stood for all to see, completely unharmed. You couldn't even kill one of my shadow clones. The Naruto on the ground disappeared in a puff of smoke. Now go, before I make you leave. Hanabi was stunned. I couldn't even beat his clone. How is that possible? I am the most powerful member of the main family. Only Neji is capable of fighting me. Hanabi threw a smoke bomb before disappearing into the woods. Naruto jumped down from the trees and was immediately caught in the arms of a weeping Hinata. I thought you were dead. She could kill you. I have seen her do it before. She knows how to stop a heart without fail. Hinata buried her face into his chest. Now that I found you, I don't want to lose you. Naruto couldn't say anything. Konohamaru and his friends stood behind Hinata and were making kissing faces at Naruto. Naruto rolled his eyes at them and then took Hinata's hand. I am not going anywhere. Except into that tower, and you get to come with me. Naruto smiled at the teary-eyed young woman in his arms. The 6 then opened the tower doors and finished the second exam. Hinata Hyuga and Shiruki Shiro, prepare for battle. The preliminary rounds for the third test were underway. Out of the 60 that went into the forest, only 18 had come out with a passing grade. Naruto's team, including Hinata and Sakura. Konohamaru's team, including Udon and Moegi. The team from Sand that had met Naruto's team on the river. The team from Sound that Naruto had known would get into the third test. A team of ninja from Cloud, who had not been expected to achieve as much as they had. The last team in was Hanabi's team. 9 preliminary matches would decide who would go to the finals. Hanabi Hyuga had already defeated one of the ninja from Sound with a killing blow. She hadn't even been touched, and wasn't breathing hard at the conclusion of the match. Konohamaru had fought of one of the Sand ninja that had tried to ambush Naruto earlier, but not the leader. He had pulled out a very close victory. He had been nearly trapped under the ground but had sacrificed his movement for his life by melting the sand used with a fire jutsu. The other ninja had been trapped completely in the glass and was proclaimed unable to fight. Sakura had fought Udon, and had pulled off a win by using shadow clones to trick the other one into using chakra scalpels on the wrong Sakura. She then knocked the kid out cold using her impressive strength. Another Sand ninja fought Moegi, but unlike the fight between Tenten and Tamari, the weapons expert managed to beat the sand ninja with almost no effort. The leader of the sand ninjas fought with another sound ninja, and was able to defeat him. Both of them had been expert earth jutsu users, but the sand ninja easily overcame the jutsus of the sound ninja by dulling them with jutsus involving sand. Hanabi's teammates were chosen to fight each other, and Hanabi convinced the weaker of the two to forfeit. He obeyed without question, and his teammate advanced onto the finals. The next round was between Hinata and the leader of the Cloud Ninjas. The leader looked to be a fast and agile fighter. Naruto had heard of his handiwork from some of the other Cloud Ninja while they watched. He was a water jutsu specialist and specialized in toxins and acids. Naruto had told as much to Hinata, but she appeared to be confident. "Be careful, Hinata. Ready, begin." Both fighters assumed a fighting stance. Byakugan. Hinata had altered her style of juken to allow for more light, swift attacks instead of the powerful and slightly slower ones used by her sister. "I made this style just to fight other juken users, but I need the practice." Hinata suddenly was forced to duck underneath the spray of acid that the Cloud Ninja spat from his mouth. "All right, close range it is then." Hinata charged her opponent, ducking 2 more sprays in the time it took her to reach him. She gave a regular juken-style punch to the ninja's shoulder, and wasn't surprised to find it blocked. She had already begun her second, more quick, strike, and 2 fingers struck the man's thigh. Her opponent didn't drop, as she had wanted him to, but he did freeze for a second. A second was all of the time she needed. 256 palm strike. Hinata let loose her secret technique, one that would only be possible for someone who was using her style of juken. The less chakra put into the attack meant that she could put more into her arms to speed up the attacks beyond regular human ability to even see. Her opponent wasn't able to even move as she struck at a speed that was too fast to comprehend. A second later her opponent collapsed on the ground. Alive, but not even able to move a finger. The winner of the match is Hinata Hyuga. Hinata jumped back up to her place next to Naruto and Sakura. Naruto gave her a big hug and she blushed. "That was awesome, Hinata. You smoked that guy. When I win my match we are going to go and celebrate. After that, maybe we can figure out who will train us for the finals." Hinata smiled. She had gotten over much of her shyness within the last week. She had gotten to the point where being with Naruto was all of the joy as before, but she no longer had to wake up each time he smiled at her. Life couldn't get much better. Naruto, Uzumaki and Core Naden, prepare for battle. Naruto jumped into the arena along with one of the remaining Cloud Ninja. He smiled a huge smile at his opponent. "Hey, I just want to say that it was nice fighting you, and I want you to know that when you wake up from this you have my respect. You are rather confident, but I warn you, I am more powerful than my leader." "Whatever. Ready, begin." Naruto decided he didn't want this fight to last long at all. "I will finish this fight now, okay? Again, no hard feelings." Naruto started a punch. He was standing 10 meters away from his opponent. As he drew his arm back, his other arm untied a leather strap from around his wrist and bicep. Naruto threw his punch with such speed that no one even knew what had happened. All anyone saw was the flying Cloud Ninja slam into a wall with enough force to break through the 2 meters of solid rock and into a hallway. Naruto walked over to his unconscious opponent and recovered his 2 small leather straps. He tied them back onto his arms. The match goes to Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto jumped up into the gallery next to his team. They both ran up to him. "What was that, Naruto? It looked like you threw a punch from 10 meters away." "Naruto, is the man dead?" "No, he is not dead. I threw my weights with my punch. They both weigh over 5 times my body weight, so they hit him pretty hard. I really haven't had them off for over 2 years. They have a special jutsu on them that alters the effect of gravity on them. They can weigh whatever Jorya wants them to. I haven't had less than 500 pounds on each limb since I got them. I kind of want to see how fast I really am, but I don't want to until the finals. Come on, let's go get some ramen. What about the last match? The sound ninja will win." Even as Naruto said those words they heard a yell from behind them. Earth style. Rock tomb jutsu. Naruto turned in time to see the sound ninja's opponent be crushed between 2 half spheres of rock. A loud and sickening crunch was heard that signified the end of the ninja's life. The match goes to Lore of Sound. Naruto watched as the ninja returned to his place. "That guy is tough." Just then, Tsunade walked into the arena. Finalists can pick up the finals schedule in my office tomorrow starting at 8. The finals will begin in exactly 1 month. Naruto turned back to his friends. Ramen time, on me. They both nodded and Naruto took Hinata's hand as they walked to the ramen bar. They were almost there when an approaching dust cloud caused them to stop. Sakura. Naruto cringed at Lee's appearance. When the dust settled, Lee was on his knees in front of Sakura and had her hands in his. Please, lovely Rose, grant me the honor of dining with your fairness. And, if I may, know how you are doing in the Chunin exams. Sakura giggled. No one except Lee could get away with doing things like that. Okay, but you're buying. I wouldn't have it any other way. Lee stood up and took Sakura's hand in his as they walked through the restaurant's door. Naruto gave a loud sigh. Are you okay, Naruto? Naruto had completely forgotten whose hand he was holding. Oh, I am just fine, Hinata. I was just thinking, I am kind of jealous of Lee. Not because he has Sakura or anything. I am over that. Then why? I don't like seeing you unhappy. I wish I could do what he does. But you are faster and stronger than him. I don't know anything that you can't do. No, I mean that I wish I could express my feelings as well as he does. Oh, Hinata wanted to tell him that she wasn't good at expressing herself either, but her throat would stick every time she tried. Hinata. Yeah. I may be a great ninja, but I stink at feelings. I just wanted to tell you that. Let's go eat. Naruto led them through the door and into a surprise company of friends. The entire Rookie 9 were there, minus Sasuke, and Tenten was also there. They greeted the duo as they entered the door and took a seat. All of them wanted to know how the prelims went. Naruto was chosen to explain. Okay, the prelims went well, so now there are 7 Konoha ninjas in the finals. Out of 9, that is amazing. Sakura had to take out one of the younger genin from here to get into the finals. Knocked him out cold without being touched. Hinata here wasted some elite ninja from Cloud. The guy spat acid, but Hinata totally kicked his rear into the next century. I fought some stooge who was probably decent, but we only fought for 3 seconds. Everyone was surprised at the results. Most of the village had considered the new class of genin to be mediocre at best, except the next Hyuga prodigy. To have 7 in the finals was amazing. And how did Hinata ace an elite ninja from Cloud? Or, for that matter, how did Naruto beat someone in 3 seconds? Shino, though usually silent, asked the obvious questions. Naruto, how did you beat some guy in 3 seconds? The room went quiet. Naruto blushed a little and smiled bashfully with his arms over his head. I threw my weights at him. He caught them in the bread basket. The room was still quiet. Lee was staring at Naruto now. Naruto, how heavy are your weights? Lee had been training for years with weights. His leg weights were easily 25 times his body weight each. Mine could kill a guy, but it would still take a lot of weight to knock out a ninja. Oh, I wear 2 on each arm and leg. I threw 2, so that means I threw about 1,500 pounds at the guy. Lee sighed. At least he wasn't quite up to Lee's weight yet. But, really, Hinata's fight was the coolest one there was. She dodged some acid then ran up to the guy and he only blocked one of her strikes, out of a whole lot. I didn't even know. What? Everyone was staring at him. How did you get so strong? I can't even lift one of your arms. You never told us that you were wearing almost as much as Lee. Sakura stopped yelling for a second to catch her breath. Everyone was in awe of the new Naruto. One thought was on everyone's minds. Where did this new Naruto come from? Ino was the first to speak up. All right, Naruto. That's amazing. We are all going to be at the finals to root for you 3. Now, on to more important topics. Hinata, last time you came in here you bowled over Naruto and passed out twice. This time you walk in here on the same guy's arm. Anything we should know about? All of the girls in the room except Hinata started giggling. Hinata chose to blush as red as humanly possible, which only made the girls giggle louder. No, Oh, come on now. We all saw the kiss last time. Isn't there anything at all between you? How about you, Naruto? Hey, why would I tell all of you anything before I figure it out myself? Hinata, do you want to take a walk? I don't think I am hungry right now. There was not one person in the entire restaurant moving. Choji let his noodles hang out of his mouth, uneaten. Naruto not hungry for ramen. This was an unprecedented event. Actually, Naruto knew that he was very hungry for ramen, but he knew he wouldn't be able to eat anything unless he told Hinata his feelings. Hinata nodded and they headed out the door. Shikamaru was the only one to speak. Poor Naruto, love can be troublesome business. Naruto had led Hinata to a park. They both took seats on swings. Both of them were silent as they swung, but each had their own thoughts. How can I tell her? Being around her gives my spirits a boost. The times when we are apart for more than a minute hurt me. Is this love? Don't ask me, kid. But the girl loves you. That much I know. If you can't focus on your duties one way or another, then you will die. What is that supposed to mean? It means that if you get distracted in the line of duty by either being with her or the opposite, then you have a higher risk of dying. I don't want us to die, so figure out whether you are more distracted with her, or without her. I constantly think of her, even when we aren't together. Well, then you should be with her. You think it will ease my mind? Yeah, or you will find yourself constantly thinking about her still. That is called love as I understand. Then you mate with her and forget about her. That is not the kind of advice I need right now. Fox demons don't exactly have marriage or life partners, so maybe that is what you should do afterwards. That wouldn't be half bad. Hinata's thoughts were slightly different. I love him, but I can't say it. I can't even remember the last time I used that word. If only I could find another way to say it. Hinata stopped swinging. She turned to face Naruto, who had also stopped swinging. Naruto, I want you to know that What? What I am trying to say is that I am in Never mind. Here, Hinata, I need to tell you something. So here it goes. I don't know if I love you. Hinata inhaled sharply. What does that mean? Does this mean he does or doesn't like me? Hinata felt so confused. I don't know if I love you, and I don't know if I will ever know. But I think I might love you. I think it might be love. I mean, anything can happen, right? I mean, I love being around you and talking with you and being with you in general, so I might be in love with you. I just don't know. But, Hinata, will you accept what might be love? If you don't love me you can just tell me and that's okay too. Hinata could barely move. Her love had just confessed what might be love for her and was asking if she loved him back. Hinata had only dreamed of this. I have to tell him. Naruto, Naruto Hinata got fed up with herself. She threw her arms around Naruto and planted a kiss right on his lips, knocking them both to the ground. Hinata released the kiss only to get some air and then returned to it. They made an interesting sight, Naruto laying under a swing with a girl straddling his waist and kissing him. Naruto had been startled at first, but he gradually accepted the kiss. After minutes Hinata pulled her head back to find herself in a very awkward position. She was blushing profusely as she jumped off of Naruto. Naruto couldn't stop smiling as he got up. I guess I can take that as an, I love you, right? Hinata was still trying to cope with the fact that she had kissed Naruto. All she could do was nod. Naruto smiled. Yeah, well I think that made my decision a little easier. Maybe you want to go out sometime. Hinata nodded again. Good, let's go to the top of the monument after training tomorrow, I will pick you up, okay? Another nod. You are going to pass out again, aren't ya? Another nod. That's fine, you're cute when you sleep. Hinata just collapsed to the ground, but she was caught by Naruto before she fell a foot. Both had the same thought. I am in love. Chapter 7. Training and Dating. Hinata Hyuga woke up in her bed to knocking on her door. Who is it? Barely awake, she pulled a long silk robe around herself and walked over to her door. When she opened the door, the last person she was expecting to appear showed himself. Neji Hyuga, prodigy of the Hyuga branch family and the near bane of Hinata, was standing in her doorway. Cousin Neji, how are you? I am fine, Lady Hinata. I have heard of your competing in the finals. Apparently you came through the preliminaries with flying colors. I had lots of help. The point is that I wish to offer you my services. What? I might not have shown it, but when Naruto defeated me it impacted the way I look at things greatly. I no longer believe in predestination, and so I wish to help you become stronger. I do not wish what happened to my father to happen to you. What do you mean? You must know about how much your father prefers Hanabi over you. He says it to your face constantly. I think he might try to find some way to send you to the branch house and have Hanabi be heir. I know that, between the two of you, you would be the better leader. I wish to help you become stronger so that you may defeat your sister in the finals and ensure your place is heir. In return I ask only for your word that you will attempt to make it so no more branch members receive the caged bird seal. I will gladly accept your help and I will make sure no more branch members are sealed. I need to tell Naruto that I will be training with you, so we can start tomorrow. We begin at 5 in the morning. Be there. Neji turned around and left Hinata alone. Naruto, you changed so many people for the better. And now I finally get to be with you. Life couldn't get any better. Naruto met Hinata and Sakura at the Hokage's office to get the final schedule. Naruto was slightly disappointed at the outlook. That's the problem with getting too many people from Konoha in the finals. Friends fighting friends. Hanabi Hyuga vs Garu Bekken. Hinata Hyuga vs Kiera Rake. Konohamaru Saratobi vs Sakura Haruno. Naruto Uzumaki vs Lore of Sound. Moegi vs winner of match 4. Looks like I fight a friend in the second round no matter what. If you survive the first round, you doubt my ability. No, but you need to focus or you will make a mistake and that will be the end of your dreams. Okay, fine, he won't be tough, but if he catches me then I am probably toast. I must either strike first or be on my toes for the entire fight. Much better. Hinata will be up against the Sand Girl. I hope she wins, but if she does then she will most likely go against her sister. That will be hard for her. Less hard than you think. Her sister appears to be competing against Hinata for the rights of firstborn Hyuga. If you paid more attention to what you hear with my ears then you would know that Hinata is not the favorite of the Hyuga sisters. She might even be in danger of assassination attempts. What? The Hyugas have a skewed honor system. Follow the code, but when the code becomes inconvenient then find loopholes. The code in this case being that the firstborn is the successor to the leadership of the clan, the loophole being that if she dies then the role passes to her sister. There are other loopholes too, so she needs to be on her toes if she intends to live. I need to help her somehow. Naruto glanced over at Hinata, who happened to be glancing over at him at the exact same time. Hinata blushed and looked away, only to look back a second later with a smile on her face. Guess she remembered that I love her too. The best way to help her is to cheer her on in the finals. You are probably right, winning in the finals against her sister would be a good start. Naruto turned to face his team. Okay, it looks like we are going to have it tough. Hinata, you get to fight the Sand Girl who was incredibly powerful and a little bloodthirsty. Sakura, you get to fight my protege. And I have to fight the guy who crushes people. Sakura and I might face off in the second round and Hinata will fight the winner of our fight in the last round, hopefully. The question I have is what you want to do about training. I will probably train outside of town in the same place as before. If either of you ever want to join me, that is fine. I suspect Tsunade will be training you, Sakura. Yeah, but I might show up to spy every once in a while. That's fine. How about you, Hinata? Actually Naruto, normally I wouldn't give up a chance to spend time with you, but Neji is going to train me. Really? Yeah, you might not believe it, but I think that everyone that you have ever fought has become a better person from it. Gaara, Kiba, Neji, that guy you told us about from Wave, even the Hokage had a change of heart from watching you battle Kabuto and Orochimaru. Neji wants to help me become a better taijutsu fighter. So when I need help on ninjutsu you know where I'll come. Hinata smiled at him. Now I need to get started. I will see you later today, Naruto. She gave him a kiss on his cheek as she ran out the door. Naruto had a silly smile on his face as she waved back at her teammates. Sakura had her mouth wide open. When did this happen? What? The confident Hinata who gives you kisses, that's what? Oh, well I kind of told her that I might love her and she kept trying to tell me that she loved me, but she couldn't come out with it. So she kissed me for almost a minute. I guess that made up my mind, so now we have a date this afternoon. Wow, never would have thought Hinata to be the one to go up and kiss you. Me neither, but it was great. Yeah, whatever, now I'm going to collect some scrolls from the Hokage's library. See ya. Yeah, bye. Naruto turned to look at the Hokage. They were the only ones left in the room. So may I borrow it? I still don't know if that would be safe. Tsunade, you know that I am trustworthy. I need to know what it is my father wanted me to know. Please. I know that the seal says you should be able to open it now. Yes, and I really want to know what it contains. Okay, it is in the library. It is contained within the scroll marked The History of the Universe, Unabridged, Volume 16. Thanks, Tsunade. Naruto entered his clearing outside of the city carrying 3 scrolls. He set them on the ground and began his favorite jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Instantly 2,000 Narutos filled the clearing and the surround area. Naruto stood up to speak to his clones. Alright, training time again. You, the 500 on the right. Train chakra control by running up waterfalls and try running down them this time. You, the 500 on the left. Take these 2 scrolls and study the fire jutsu inside. If I don't know them now, I want to by the end of this month. You, the 500 over there. You are going to go about 100 miles south of here and find out everything I can do with the fire wind rasengan. I don't want to use it in the finals and find out that it kills everyone. Find out how to control it. The last of you are going to do your favorite activity, meditation. Sighs and moans exited his clones' mouths. Okay, so it isn't fun, but I need the help, right? They all nodded and, with a few complaints, sat in the clearing. The rest of the Narutos had cleared out already, leaving the real Naruto and the meditating clones in the clearing. Naruto picked up the last scroll, the one he had gotten from the library that morning, and walked off towards the monument of his father. Naruto sat down on his father's head with a sigh. If I had only known that he was my father back when I pulled all of those pranks. Jiraiya and Tsunade were the only ones who even knew, and they weren't in town. I almost didn't find it out, but Jiraiya came back to camp drunk and told me how much I resembled my father when I showed him my progress on the rasengan. He knew he had to tell me after that, especially after I tied him to a tree and threatened his research with my fire jutsu. Dad, if only you had known what would happen because you died. This town died with you. Goodwill was put in remission. So now it is left up to me to fix it. I hope whatever is in this scroll is a way to convince the elders of the village that I am not an avatar of the Kyuubi. The nerve of them. My avatar would be much better looking. Yeah, whatever. You know, you and your father are the only 2 humans who I actually respect a little. You both are willing to sacrifice everything for what you love. You have almost done that multiple times. Thanks. If I was still alive, though, that would just mean I would kill you quickly. Yeah, thanks. Naruto did the seals for his time alteration jutsu. The seal on the scroll disintegrated. Sort of like a Kekkei Genkai, but more like Shikamaru's shadow techniques or Choji's meat tank. Naruto opened the scroll with steady hands. His life had been one surprise after another, and, if it was possible, he was used to them. Whatever was in this scroll couldn't be any more life-shattering than Sasuke leaving or finding out the 4th was his dad. The scroll contained a letter and a smaller scroll. Dear Naruto. I am sorry that it must be this way, but I am going to pass very soon to be with your mother. You see, we are going to attempt to seal the Kyuubi, who is now destroying Konoha, inside of you. I don't know if you will survive, but I know that I won't. These are my final words to you. You must have grown up quite a lot to even open this scroll. I trusted Jiraiya to teach you when it was time. Don't spend too much time with him, though. He is a kind man and a great ninja, but a pervert. Your mother's name was Hakura Uzumaki. She was beautiful beyond belief, but died while giving birth to you due to injuries given by the Kyuubi. I hope you manage to find a wife as beautiful as her. A picture of us is enclosed in the scroll. It is a summoning scroll, and it contains a set of my special kunai and a few family heirlooms. You would have belonged to one of the most powerful clans in Konoha, but the Kyuubi's attack destroyed the entire section of town where our clan was based. The deed to the property is also in the scroll. I hope you have not suffered too much on behalf of the Kyuubi inside of you. I know many people probably didn't take my advice about you. Their hatred can be turned to love if you treat it in the right way. You have the potential to become one of the greatest ninjas of all time. After all, your father was an Uzumaki and your mother was a Hyuga. You should have a massive chakra store, plus that of the Kyuubi, and also, with a little training, incredible physical abilities. Know that, even in death, your mother and I are very proud of you and know you will be a great ninja. Love. The 4th Hokage of the village hidden in the leaves. Naroku Uzumaki. Wow, as if my life can get any more confusing. I didn't even know my last name wasn't Uzumaki. Naruto bit his thumb and summoned the articles of the 2nd scroll. A few pictures and 2 boxes appeared. Naruto picked up the pictures. Wow, she really was beautiful. His mother and father stood next to each other holding hands. They were smiling. It looked like a honeymoon photo. Naruto noticed his mother's eyes. They look exactly like Hinata's. No, wait, Hinata's have a deeper shade of lilac. Wait, is that the caged bird seal on her forehead? I am going to end that as soon as possible, Mom. The other pictures were of his mother and father at other points in their lives. His father becoming Hokage. His father winning the Chunin exams. His mother and father before some date. They look like they are really in love. He then opened the first box. Inside were 6 of the strangest kunai Naruto had ever seen. They were tri-pronged and perfectly balanced in every way. The perfect ninja weapon. Naruto took them and the bandolier they were on and put them on. When he opened the last box he found papers. One looked like a deed for some property. One was his parents' wedding certificate. Another was a family tree. Most of the names were completely unknown to him, but a few stood out. The Hyugas seem to have a long relationship with my family. Interesting. I should show this to Tsunade. Naruto sped off towards the training grounds of the Hyugas. First, I need to see Hinata again. She looks more like my mom than I could have imagined. Hinata had never done such rigorous training in her life except when she had secluded herself for weeks. She struck the training dummy again and again. How it could resist the strain of so many strikes was beyond Hinata. Neji was watching her closely. Once every so often he would approach her and show her how to improve one key aspect of her form or attack pattern. It is helping. I know it is. I just wish Naruto could be here. Suddenly Naruto jumped out of the trees surrounding her training ground holding what appeared to be multiple scrolls and boxes. He approached the girl with a smile on his face. Hey Hinata, I was just checking in to see how you were doing. I don't want to spy or anything. Neji frowned slightly. Naruto, I might have gotten over your victory over me, but you should not interrupt Lady Hinata's training if you like her as much as I think you do. You're right, and I will leave in just a minute. Hinata, I have a question. Did you ever hear of someone Hakura Hyuga? Neji's eyes went wide. Hakura Hyuga was my aunt. How would you know about her? She died in the Kyuubi attack. I was just asking. Saw her name in a scroll or something. I also heard she married out of the clan, but I never heard who to. Do you know, Neji? No, I was barely born when she died. I have no memories of her. Okay, that's fine. Hinata, I'll see you in a few hours right here, okay? Yes, I'll be ready Naruto. Naruto took his packages and headed off towards the Hokage Tower. So now I am Neji's cousin. Now that is interesting. Not half as interesting as your relationship with Hinata is going to get. What, don't you get it, kid? You are slightly related to Hinata now, heck you might even be cousins. How closely related, I don't know, but you should check that out before this relationship gets any further. You're right, but I hope you're wrong. Tsunade could look it up for you. Now, kid, you got training to do. I would say good training would be to rebuild your clan's complex without anyone finding out who is doing it. That would take some skill. I bet you that it takes me no more than the month I have and no one spots me. That's the spirit. Now get to the Hokage Tower so you can start. Okay. Phew, now that is a relief. Naruto had spent 4 hours looking around in the archives of the city looking for a Hyuga family tree that wasn't from hundreds of years ago. When he finally found one he was happy to find that his mother was not Hinata's aunt as well, not even closely related by blood. Funny how they look so much alike. What I find funny is how you couldn't figure out if you love the girl yet you always act like this. Let's just say my mind is getting clearer. Good, I sense many little Narutos and Hinatas are on their way. What, you don't just do that in society now. You have to get married first. So, get married. We are a little too young to do that. No, you aren't. Where, in the law, does it say 18-year-olds can't get married? Oh yeah, I guess I totally missed that we will be 18 in only a few months. But still, it is generally common thought that you wait a little longer, like a few years. 2 more years of maybe dying and worrying. 2 more years of love that you can't express. Us foxes have it easy. We just find the girl we like and take her. When we don't like her anymore we get a new one. Like I will ever not like Hinata. That is where humans and demons are different. Humans live short lives and age together. My mates would all age while I would never grow a day older. I lost interest in corpses. I never thought about it like that. I still think we need more time before I pop that question. Another day of, oh, just be quiet. Naruto had left the tower and was heading back to where his clones were training. When he reached the clearing he saw 500 Narutos asleep. Great, I don't think I made much progress in the concentration factor. Kai. Naruto released his jutsu and recalled all of his clones. The information and training they had done transferred into his memory instantly. Naruto smiled. This way he was able to train every aspect of his abilities while he could focus on improving his body and doing other things, like rebuilding the Uzumaki complex. Not bad for day 1. I need to try that fire wind rasengan again. Looks like they made some major progress with that. Naruto ran off towards Hinata's training grounds. Hyuga Hinata was resting. She had been training for 12 straight hours. I can't remember the last time I was this tired. Oh well, at least now I get to go somewhere with Naruto. On a date with Naruto. A few weeks ago that would have been just an impossible dream. But this is real and he likes me and he knows I love him. Hinata gave a sigh of contentment. It is like all I ever wanted is coming true. Hinata had been waiting for an hour for Naruto to show up. She didn't mind one bit. He didn't really specify a time, so I am really just early. I hope he didn't forget. No, Naruto wouldn't do that. If something is important to him then he always gets it done. I hope that I am important enough to him. Hinata had no idea that the object of her affection was right behind the tree she was sitting under. If this was anyone but Hinata I would be playing a joke on them. But I shouldn't do that to Hinata. Come to think of it, Hinata is probably the only person in this village that I have never actually played a trick on. Subconsciously, then, you loved her from the beginning. Maybe. Face it kid, just admit to her that you love her and then the rest will follow. Oh, and take her out to dinner at some fancy place. What? Why? She is hungry. If you would use my senses more you could both hear her stomach and smell her hunger like a giant sign reading, I am hungry. You are going to have to teach me how to do that all the time in the next month. Fine, as long as you use them. I might know of a good place to eat. Not the ramen joint. Why not? It shows you care about someone if you are willing to sacrifice for them. Give up eating at your favorite place and eat at hers. Fine. But I shouldn't keep her waiting anymore. Good idea. Best you've had today, in fact. Shut up. Naruto ran back into the forest and circled around to emerge in front of Hinata. Hinata was almost nodding off when Naruto appeared before her. Naruto. Hi. Hey Hinata, before we go to the monument I wanted to know if you want some dinner. I haven't had any and I doubt you have either. Hinata didn't want to seem like an inconvenience, but her stomach decided at that moment to growl loud enough for both of them to hear. Hinata blushed at her stomach's manners and timing. Naruto just smiled more. Sounds like you agree. Where do you want to go? I'll go wherever you want to go, Naruto. Nah, this is your night, Hinata. What is your favorite place to eat? Hinata had never heard anyone tell her that. My night, I don't even think I have ever eaten out of the clan complex except at Ichiraku Ramen or during training. I don't know. I have never been to anywhere else but the ramen restaurant. Really? Me neither. We should find some new place to eat, okay? To Hinata, just the word, we, was enough to get her to agree. I would go anywhere with you, Naruto. Hinata had meant it as a thought, but somehow it had come out. Hinata gasped and placed her hand over her mouth. Naruto just smiled. Same here, Hinata. Naruto took Hinata's hand and they started walking toward town. He said he would go anywhere with me. Naruto and Hinata were strolling through the city, passing people of all kinds as they looked for a place to eat. Naruto finally found a place that seemed appealing. It was a high-end sushi restaurant. They took their seats in a corner booth. As they ordered they did not notice that almost every eye in the place was on them. The Hyugas are eating dinner with the Kyuubi brat. The conversations were all centered over the pair in the corner. Only one group of people wasn't aware of the duo's presence. Hiyashi Hyuga sat with two other high-ranked clan heads and all three were discussing upcoming business transactions. It wasn't until one of the patrons, finished with his dinner, approached the table that Hiyashi broke from the conversation. Hiyashi Hyuga, I have always respected the Hyuga clan. They symbolize the strength of the people of Konoha. And what you Hyugas do is between yourselves, but I think that your daughter should not be seen with that brat any more than a rose should be seen with a weed. What are you speaking of? Your daughter, unless I am mistaken, that is her in the corner booth, conversing with that Uzumaki brat. You know, as well as I do, that he is bad news. I see. This problem had not been drawn to my attention until now. I thank you for your input and assure you that the situation will be fixed right now. Hiyashi got up from his seat and walked over to the unsuspecting pair. Hinata was enjoying herself immensely. She hadn't had this much fun since her mother died. Naruto had been enjoying telling her jokes and telling her of his exploits over the past 3 years. Naruto was constantly smiling, mainly because Hinata was also. It was like everything he could do pleased her. When he had nearly gagged after swallowing a sushi whole, she had just laughed. Anyone else would have just told me to eat smaller bites or made fun of me, but Hinata was laughing with me, not at me. Naruto suddenly sensed bloodlust almost directly behind him. It took most of his self-control to not just turn around and confront the person. Instead, he prepared a trap. It worked on the last Hyuga I faced, so it will probably work on him too. Hinata, who was still giggling over Naruto's last antic, suddenly stopped and a look of terror grew on her face. Naruto turned around to see the head of the Hyuga clan standing directly behind him. "Can I help you?" "Yes, brat, you can die." Hiyashi lashed out at Naruto and struck him hard enough to throw Naruto into the middle of the restaurant. Naruto crashed into a table and struggled to get up. "Naruto, you have a lot to answer for when you return to the complex. Your actions are not becoming of an heir. The council will discuss your future at their next meeting. Leave here, now." Hinata hesitated. Naruto was still trying to struggle to his feet after being struck by one of the most powerful ninja in Konoha. Hiyashi caught her glacé towards Naruto. "You dare disobey me?" Hiyashi lashed out at Hinata. Suddenly his arm was being held back, his strike merely inches from Hinata's face. His strike had been blocked, his arm grabbed by none other than Naruto. "How?" Hiyashi looked back at the boy on the floor. The Naruto poofed into a cloud of smoke. Shadow clone. He turned his attention back to the boy in front of him, standing between him and his cowering daughter. "How could he be holding me back with only one hand? It doesn't even look like he is trying hard." Naruto was glaring at him. "You know, I would have let you go if you had only tried to hurt me. But you tried to hurt Hinata, your own daughter. You obviously have no honor, so I have no pity for you. If you wish to fight me, then I will accept. I will fight you, now, in the street, to the death. I will not kill the father of the girl I love." That froze Hiyashi and every onlooker in the restaurant. Most thought it was a lie, or a trick of the Kyuubi. Hiyashi didn't know what to do. "Love, I haven't loved anything in so long. Not since she died. If you truly loved my daughter then you would not go near her. You know why. Father, I love him and I know about the fox." If the audience could have been any more stunned than they became it then. She can't possibly know what she is talking about. Love the one who killed thousands. Love that monster. Why, what does she see in him? Hiyashi stared at his daughter. "You don't know anything. It is because of him that your mother died. She was wounded in the Kyuubi attack and the wound only got worse as time passed. She finally died giving birth to Hanabi, but it was because of him." "No, father, it was not Naruto who killed Mama, it was the Kyuubi, and they are not the same. If they were, then wouldn't Naruto have already destroyed the city? He is capable of it. Enough, I will duel you, Naruto. If you don't kill me, then that is your business. What are the stakes? If I win, you die. Fine, but if I win then you swear to never hurt Hinata or have someone else hurt her again." Agreed. The entire restaurant emptied. Hinata followed her father and boyfriend out, into the street. As they came to the middle of the street they saw many people had gotten friends. It looked like every person in the village was there. Hinata looked around for her friends, but saw none. "They are all going for father. I must go for Naruto." Hinata ran up to Naruto. "Naruto, I want you to know that even if no one else here cheers for you, I want you to win." "Thanks Hinata, I want you to know that I meant what I said back there. I love you." Hinata gave him a kiss on his cheek and stepped back. The people let her have space. Some had seen what Naruto had done with Hiyashi. "Ready, Hiyashi sir." "Ready, brat. As a sign of courtesy, I will fight you with my weights on. Like that will make a difference. Would you have me take them off? I will not hold back, why should you?" "Very well." Naruto unfastened the leather straps from his arms and legs. He smiled as he tossed the weights with ease into the gap between him and Hiyashi. Loud thump was heard and the weights went right through the street and into the sewer lines. "Blast. Now I have to make new ones." Naruto gave a light bounce on his toes and took a ready stance. Your move, Hyuga, sir. Hiashi drew a kunai, silver and engraved, from his robe. Byakugan, he charged. Naruto waited. Hiashi was within a few feet of Naruto when Naruto completely vanished. What? I can't see him in any direction. Naruto suddenly appeared next to him. Hiashi swung and the blade sliced air. Naruto was now standing on his other side. Hiashi swung again, and again caught nothing. Hiashi saw a flicker of movement next to his blind spot. Gotcha. He threw the kunai, without warning, directly behind him. Naruto appeared in front of him, holding the kunai and twirling it in his fingers. Had enough. Fool. Hiashi charged again, but Naruto let him close the gap this time. Hiashi began attacking with Juken. He threw punch after punch at Naruto, but Naruto didn't even move his feet as he dodged one after another. Hiashi couldn't even touch him. Naruto suddenly changed style and began using his own hands to block Hiashi. No one in the audience but Hinata could see that Naruto was actually blocking the Juken using his own chakra-surrounded hands. The chakra from the Juken would merely wash over and through Naruto as he was touched. Hiashi took a jump back. You are in my circle. 128 palm hand strike. Hiashi jumped towards Naruto. His hands moved like liquid lightning as they hit Naruto's body again and again. Hinata couldn't even breathe as Naruto was hit over and over with the most powerful taijutsu in Konoha. But when Hiashi stood back it looked as if Naruto had not even been touched. Naruto gave a yawn and looked up at the moon. You know, it is getting kind of late. If you can't even hurt me, what is the point of this duel? Insolent little. Hiashi tried to perform his attack again, but this time he was stopped in mid-attack by Naruto. Naruto grabbed both of Hiashi's fists and threw him into the air. Hiashi flew up hundreds of meters. I'm going to die. Naruto jumped up after him, and grabbed Hiashi around his back. Naruto began spinning as they descended, increasing speed to the point where Hiashi almost passed out. Hiashi saw the ground approaching his head and knew his death had come. Right before they hit, though, Naruto put all of his chakra in his legs and turned both of their bodies around. He took the fall on his legs and barely even bent his knees as they came to a complete stop. He pushed Hiashi away and resumed a fighting stance. Hiashi was in shock from almost dying in a super high-speed collision. You could have killed me. Yeah, I could have killed you 100 times in the last few minutes. Why? Because I am not the demon you think I am. If I was then maybe I would act more like you, hurt my own children and put seals of death on people's heads. If you don't hold up to your end of the deal then I will kill you. Remember that. I do not break oaths. Good, and here is another bet. I bet you that Hinata will beat Hanabi in the finals. If I am wrong then I will forfeit my own match. If I am right then you will announce to the whole city that Hinata is a fully capable heir to the Hyuga clan and will be announced as head leader when she turns 18, the age at which she would have taken control anyway. I agree to your terms. Hiashi had gotten over enough of the shock to realize that this was a good deal. If Hinata loses then she will be forced into the branch family, solving that problem and the problem of the brat. If she wins then she will be worthy to take the leadership of the clan. The brat, albeit an extremely powerful and capable ninja, will never be able to touch her anyway. And now I will return home. Hinata, if this is the company you keep then maybe you are stronger than I thought. Hiashi walked towards his complex with much to think over. Hinata sat next to Naruto on top of the fourth's head. Neither had talked since the encounter with Hinata's father. Hinata was the first to speak, breaking Naruto out of his own thoughts. Naruto, I appreciate what you did back there. I didn't want to get you in trouble, though. Now if I lose, then you lose too. You deserve to win, you need to win. If you don't win then it will be much harder for you to become Hokage. I don't even know if I want to be the clan head. Hinata, I know that you would be 100 times better as clan head than anyone else I know. Sorry about fighting with your dad. That was his fault, Naruto. I don't blame you at all. Do you still love me? Yes. I love you, too. Naruto. Hinata, I have been doing some reading and I have found something that Hiashi will try to use against us, but don't worry when he does. It will be fine. Oh, and if you need any help, whatsoever, then just show up at my training area and I can help. I think you would be great at this one technique I learned. Naruto, I don't know what to say. Naruto leaned over and kissed Hinata right on the lips. Wow. Hinata, I think we should probably be getting back. Sure. Hinata was in a daze. I hope that I never get over this. Naruto picked her up in his arms and in an instant they were standing in front of the Hyuga complex. Naruto set her down again and watched her go inside. Hiashi Hyuga was watching through the walls with his Byakugan. They look so much like me and her mother. I wore his expression all those years ago and she wore hers. If I truly end my daughter's only love, how could I even look at a picture of her face again? I need to think. Tsunade was sleeping on her paperwork, the same as she always did, with a sake cup in her hand. She hated being waken up, but Jiraiya knew she would want to hear this. He tapped her shoulder and wasn't surprised to find himself being pressed against a wall in the next second. This had better be good, Jiraiya. Whoa, hold up, you will want to hear this. Naruto just fought Hiashi Hyuga. He bet Hiashi that if he could win then Hiashi would never again hurt or get someone to hurt Hinata in any way. So they fought and Hiashi couldn't even touch Naruto. After the fight, Naruto made another bet. If Hinata beat Hanabi in the finals then she would be declared the heiress of the Hyuga clan, but if she lost then Naruto would forfeit his match. Tsunade lowered him to the ground and sat down again in her chair. Naruto always comes through on his bets, as I've found out. I feel just a little sorry for Hiashi, but only a very little. Konohamaru and Sakura stood facing each other across the stadium. Naruto was torn on who to go for. Sakura is my teammate, but I know Konohamaru strives to be Hokage like me someday. I guess I should just see who wins and congratulate both of them. Konohamaru was sweating slightly. I can do this. I can beat her. I just need to think like Naruto would. Sakura had her own doubts about this fight. I know I can win, but do I want to win? This kid, from what Naruto has told me, seems like a nice kid. I don't want to ruin this kid's chances at his dreams. I'll give him a chance to show his stuff and then I'll decide. Sakura powered up her chakra into her legs. Ready, begin. Konohamaru began with his signature move, which also happened to be Naruto's Shadow Clone Jutsu. 3 more Konohamarus appeared and began to encircle Sakura. They all jumped her at once, from all angles, making escape almost impossible. Nice try, kid. Sakura grabbed a kunai from her pouch and cut the 3 she knew were clones and gave a kick to the real grandson of the third. Konohamaru fell to the ground as his clones dissipated into smoke. Your strategy is much better than Naruto's was at your age, but you lack his creativity. Your clones weren't even made correctly. I knew which was you by the chakra emanating from it. Konohamaru smirked at this comment. Oh yeah, well you shouldn't underestimate me. Konohamaru disappeared in a puff of smoke causing Sakura to gasp and look around. What would Naruto do? Underground. Without even looking at the ground, Sakura pumped a massive amount of chakra into her legs just as a fist appeared between her feet. She flew up into the sky as Konohamaru appeared where she had just been. Wow, that was nice. She was still in the air when she caught sight of Konohamaru's hands. Earth style. Mud Dragon Bomb. How the hell did he learn that? Naruto smiled, recognizing one of the third signature moves. Follow in his footsteps and you won't go wrong. Konohamaru now stood behind a large dragon head that had come out of the ground. The dragon head began spewing mud at Sakura. As each would hit they would explode. Hundreds of tiny bombs came up to hit Sakura as Konohamaru began his next jutsu. Fire style. Phoenix Breath. Before the mud missiles had hit Sakura, Konohamaru began spinning around and shooting a stream of fire from his mouth. Instantly the battlegrounds were covered in flames. Sakura knew she was screwed. I can't substitute with anything now. That means, Konohamaru's mud bombs hit her right then. Hundreds of tiny bombs exploded and threw her into the wall. Konohamaru saw this and jumped up to where she had hit. Sakura was nearly unconscious but still able to fight. Nice job, kid. A plan worthy of the books. I would forfeit, but I need to prove myself too. Sakura popped up out of the hole in the wall and gave a punch to Konohamaru's face. Her chakra-enhanced strength caused the younger shinobi to go flying. Sakura activated her chakra scalpels, annoyed with herself for letting him get the better of her. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Konohamaru came flying after her with 6 much better made clones. Sakura landed and instantly went defensive. She got rid of 3 of the clones by kicking one in the side of the head and into 2 others. She then used her chakra scalpels to slice the legs of the rest of the clones. Konohamaru was standing further away than his clones had been. She was almost ready to charge when he decided to unleash his next attack. Earth Style, Mud River. Konohamaru was suddenly standing next to a gushing geyser of steaming hot mud coming from the ground. Sakura disappeared into the river. Konohamaru was perplexed. Why didn't she dodge it? It would have been hard, but possible. Suddenly Konohamaru was lifted off of his feet by the supercharged fist of Sakura as she came out of the ground. Konohamaru was thrown into the far wall of the arena. Sakura pointed to the now mud-covered log that lay where she would have been. Fire went out. You should have restarted it. Konohamaru was groaning as he got back up. Yeah, well, maybe I had other plans for those trees. Konohamaru started an attack that he shouldn't have even known, but had seen his grandfather study and learn it. He was ready to use it to finish this battle. A few Black Ops agents saw his hands. How the hell does he know that? Konohamaru was still doing hand signs as he said his next sentence. I don't have the chakra to use this technique on my own. I need a group of already made trees to do it. Forest animation technique. Instantly the forest began to come alive. The half-burned trees suddenly started growing, and growing at such a rate that Sakura never even had a chance to dodge. She was wrapped up tight in some branches as the entire area filled with foliage. The proctor came over to her. This match is over. The victor is Konohamaru. This time, the crowd broke into cheers completely. Everyone was buzzing about how the young Sarutobi had followed in his grandfather's footsteps. But also, there was much applause for the other combatant. Sakura had fought hard and had pulled off some great hits, but was just outmatched by the third's grandson. Sakura felt herself be released by the forest and fell to the ground, where she watched it recoil back to its original form. Konohamaru walked over to help her up. Wow, Konohamaru, you really are much better than I gave you credit for. I doubt anyone will underestimate you again. Thanks. What did you think of that move I pulled at the beginning? It was in tribute to Naruto, but I changed it to fit me. I don't want to be a Naruto clone, but he is so good. I just can't help but learn from him. I understand. If there is something all of us have in common, it is the desire to learn from Naruto. Now could someone help me get back to my seat? As if by magic Rock Lee appeared by her side. I will escort you, fair lady. Lee jumped through the air, carrying Sakura. When they reached their friends, Sakura was surrounded by people telling her what a great job she did. It was a pretty good job, wasn't it? Lee was holding Sakura still as she fell asleep. After Sakura fell asleep, everyone stopped looking at her and turned to Naruto. My turn, I guess. The entire arena was silent and on edge for this next fight. It was as anticipated as the fight years ago between Gaara and Sasuke. Naruto took his position in the arena as his opponent took his. The tension was thick. Naruto was feeling great. This is my chance to get Chunin. I just need to remember that this is not just about winning, but about the way I win. I won my match last time, but didn't get Chunin. I need to do this without getting hit, or only hit a few times. I'll let him hit me once and then show this guy up bad. He looked into the stands to see Hinata looking back. A smile later and Naruto was all seriousness again. I am ready. The sound ninja had already gotten into a stance. Naruto took off all of his weights and threw them behind him. The crowd was amazed to see the near explosive force that they hit the ground with. The sound ninja had already seen the effects of his weights, and was not in the least fazed. You still aren't fast enough to dodge my rock tomb jutsu. Whatever. Ready. This match is between Naruto Uzumaki and Core of Sound. Ready. The spectators were silent once again. Begin. The proctor jumped away and onto the wall as the battle began. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto was instantly joined by two other Narutos. His friends were shocked. Why would Naruto only make 2 shadow clones when he could make thousands? The sound ninja charged the trio of Narutos and in the blink of an eye had wiped out all 3 of them. The sound ninja found himself alone in the arena. He started hand signs. Earth style. Quake. The ground began to shake and crack. Naruto jumped out of the ground a little shaken up. Fool, you can't use the same trick twice. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to insult your intelligence. The Naruto he was speaking to smirked and then disappeared. 10 more Narutos appeared out of nowhere to surround the sound ninja. They each had a glowing ball of chakra in their hand. Rasengan. The 10 Narutos shoved their chakra spheres into the ground surrounding the sound ninja, throwing him and the surrounding area into the air. All of the Narutos on the ground disappeared and the sound ninja finally found the real Naruto. He was coming down out of the sky with a flaming ball of chakra the size of a person held in both of his hands. Before he hit the rising ninja, Naruto focused a separate stream of chakra through his fire wind attack, and it acted like the orb had contained a fiery hurricane. Fire and wind style. Hell's wind. The ball, inches from hitting the ninja, imploded from the front and spewed forth a spinning tornado of flames, forcing the sound ninja into the ground and incinerating him at the same time. Naruto ended the attack and landed a fair distance from the crater where the rest of the sound ninja's corpse was sinking into the molten ground. Most of the crowd began to cheer, but Naruto knew it wasn't over. Suddenly 2 half-spheres of rock came out of the ground around Naruto and slammed shut on his body. Everyone in the crowd gasped as they saw the 2 spheres crush Naruto. Most of Naruto's friends weren't worried. They knew Naruto had probably created a clone and was ready to kill the sound ninja. They only started to get worried when they saw the sound ninja come out of the shadows, singed and burned in most places, but alive. Ha ha ha, fool, you thought I would be killed by your fire attack. Well, I wasn't, and now you are dead. I even used your town's famous jutsu, the substitution, to evade your attack and kill you. The crowd was in shock. Where was Naruto? Was he actually killed? Hinata was torn. She couldn't see her loved one. As a tear began its way down her face, she noticed something about the rock sphere where Naruto was supposed to be. It's cracking. Byakugan. She looked down at the rock and immediately began to smile again. You weren't even fit enough to be a genin. Ha 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 ha. The sound ninja suddenly went quiet. He stared at his most powerful jutsu and suddenly went bug-eyed. He clapped his hands together and began pouring more chakra into the rock. Cracks were appearing all over the stone sphere. No, the rock suddenly exploded into many chunks, leaving behind only a perfectly fine Naruto surrounded in a blue glow. Kakashi was observing from near the Hokage's booth. So Naruto, you didn't even have to use the Kyuubi's power to do something like that. I don't want to think of what you could really do at full power. I think this battle is over. Naruto disappeared from his place in the rubble and reappeared behind the sound ninja. Good night. Naruto chopped down on his neck, sending him into a deep sleep. This match is over. The winner is Naruto Uzumaki. The crowd went wild. Even some of the Hyugas clapped for the amazing display. It only then registered in their minds that Naruto was playing with his opponent. Naruto just smiled at their display. This is what I have been looking for. But now I will have to face Konohamaru and his teammate. Naruto jumped up into the Hokage's booth. Hey, Gaara and Tsunade. I was just wondering if you could have the next match be both Konohamaru and Moegi against me. Why would you want that? It would simulate a ninja going up against odds for me, and a teamwork exercise for them. Also, I don't want to fight them one by one. It would not be fun fighting 2 complete matches against Fryan. Proctor, I choose to forfeit. What? Down in the arena, Moegi stood next to the proctor. I said that I do not wish to fight this next battle. Naruto would waste me like he could waste everyone else in this stadium. Besides, it doesn't seem fair that he needs to fight an extra match. The next match is Naruto Uzumaki's by forfeit. Well, I guess I don't need to ask about a team battle now. The next match is going to be between Hanabi Hyuga and Hinata Hyuga. Both combatants enter the arena now. Hinata was ready. After watching Naruto fight, it felt like she was charged up. If Naruto can be crushed by boulders and come out unharmed, then I can surely beat my younger sister. She is going to use Juken and expect me to do the same. If I can pull off one good move with my new style, then I will win. Hinata looked over towards where all of the Hyugas were sitting. She saw Hanabi talking to her father. Hanabi was also ready. Hanabi, she won't be able to withstand your power. End it whatever way you see fit. Her death is permissible. It is even anticipated. I will bring her eyes back to you, father. Hanabi jumped down into the arena and assumed her stance. Naruto gave Hinata a hug for good luck before she, too, landed in the arena. Sister, it looks like the time has finally come for me to assume my rightful place as heir. No, sister, it is my time to show father that I am strong and a worthy heir. I fight not just for me, but for Naruto and maybe my life. What do you fight for? I fight to make the family stronger. Your weak blood taints the main family, so you shall be moved to the branch. The same blood flows in my veins as well as yours, it was our mother's blood. I will show everyone now just how weak I am. Hinata took her modified Juken stance. Make your move. Oh, I intend to. Hanabi dropped into her classic stance. She knew Hinata knew it by heart from years of sparring, but Hinata had never been able to win even if she knew. The proctor could see that with or without him, the fight would begin momentarily. Ready, begin. Hinata did a few hand signs. Water style. Freezing touch. Hinata's arms and feet appeared to get covered by a thin mist. Hanabi had already halved the distance between them. Hinata dropped into a familiar stance as Hanabi drew close. How did she learn that? Kaden. Hinata spun at high speeds just as Hanabi came into range and sent our flying. Hanabi did a neat flip in the air and landed on her feet. That was moderately impressive. Hanabi smirked at this. Hinata didn't return it, but gave her sister a smile. Hanabi looked herself over to find that her coat over her stomach had frozen. She shrugged the coat off and once again charged Hinata, who let her sister close the gap. They stood feet away from each other trading blows faster than the untrained eye could see. Naruto put a little of the Kyuubi's chakra into his eyes and the world appeared to slow down as he saw the fight in slow motion. Hinata and Hanabi were almost equal. It appeared to Naruto that neither one had even managed to hit the other's tenketsu. Every strike Hanabi threw at Hinata would be dodged by her impressive speed and flexibility. Every hit Hinata tried to get through Hanabi would block. Hinata has greatly improved. Hanabi was also realizing this fact. Damn her, she is blocking every one of my hits. One shot at this. 8 trigram. 128 palm strike. Just as Hanabi said this, though, Hinata said her own attack. 8 trigram. 256 palm strike of ice. Hanabi and Hinata's fists collided in the first strikes, but Hinata kept up the attack, getting faster and faster until Hanabi could no longer keep up and had many of her tenketsu pressed. Hinata hopped back, breathing heavily with her bleeding hands down at her sides. Hanabi was in worse shape. She couldn't collapse if she wanted to, as most of her clothing and some patches of skin were frozen. Hanabi took some time to look down at her paralyzed and frozen body. Her hands were coated in a sheet of ice and she could see where the blood should be coming out if there had been any in her frozen arms. The proctor had never seen anything like it. As proctor, I declare this match over. Hinata Hyuga is the winner. Bring the medic teams. Hinata ran up to her sister and began using healing jutsus to lessen the nerve damage. Sister, I am sorry that you had to go through that. Now I will be sent to the branch family. No, you won't. They can't do that to you until I am declared the clan head. And when they do that I will abolish the tradition of the curse seal so all of our family will be equal. Cousin Neji and the branch family will not live in fear of us or hate us and we will be a happy family again, as it was meant to be. Quote. Hanabi had passed out from the pain and from the advanced stages of hypothermia. The medic teams were already there and using their advanced healing jutsus on her. One of them stopped to assure Hinata that her sister would be fine. Hinata looked up into the stands. Up until now the crowd had been silent. Then the branch family of the Hyugas stood up and began to applaud. Apparently the whole audience had heard her plan for the future of her clan. What had begun as only a select few branch members became a standing ovation for the young Hyuga. The entire crowd was on their feet, even the Hokage and Kazekage had stood up to honor her. Hinata just blushed. She jumped back into the stand where Naruto caught her on landing. You did it, Hinata. I knew you could. You total rocked, MPHH. Naruto was forced to close his mouth as Hinata kissed him full on. Shino just stared at the pair. Almost a minute later Hinata let the kiss go and sat down. Naruto, for once, was completely speechless. He sat down next to her and began to wrap her bleeding hands in strips of cloth. The rest of their friends came over to congratulate the victor, but were only greeted by Naruto, with Hinata leaning against his shoulder asleep. Sakura had woken up during the battle. Man, she finally wins and earns what is hers and she sleeps. Naruto, you should get down there, I'll take over pillow duty. Naruto smiled and silently slipped away so he could enter the battlefield. He was about to jump over the railing when he froze, turned around and ran back to his sleeping loved one. He kissed the sleeping Hinata on the forehead before leaping into the battlefield. This match is between Naruto Uzumaki and Konohamaru Sarutobi. Naruto stood across from his one-time rival and protege. You really pulled one over on Sakura, Konohamaru. I was impressed. Thanks, that means a lot coming from you. Well, are you ready for a friendly spar? You bet, though I don't see how I can beat you now. I vowed to beat you someday, but this probably isn't that day. I hope you're right, but never lose heart in yourself. Alright, I won't. Get ready. They both dropped into their ready stances as the proctor started the match. Konohamaru began by using both of their signature jutsus. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 10 new Konohamarus appeared and encircled Naruto. Naruto gave Konohamaru a quick smile. Since this is just a friendly spar, why don't you hit me with your best shot? You asked for it. Konohamaru started by sending one of his clones towards Naruto's front. Naruto didn't even try to dodge, even though he knew the real attack was coming from behind. The clone behind him kicked him straight into the air. The clone shouted. A clone was waiting for him at the top of his arc and hit him into the waiting fist of another clone. Naruto began to be pinballed around the area between clones. OHAMARU. The real Konohamaru was suddenly directly above a flying Naruto. He slammed both of his fists into Naruto's stomach. Konohamaru barrage. Naruto nearly broke the speed of sound getting to the ground. Naruto smiled as he climbed out of the crater his body had made. That was a nice shot. Do you have any more? What? You're not even hurt. Well, if it wasn't me and hadn't, then I would probably be unconscious, if not dead. How did you think I survived the boulder if I can't survive that? You rock, Naruto. Can you teach me how to do what you are doing? Later. Let's finish this match now. Sounds good, get ready. Konohamaru was enjoying this. The audience had never seen anything like this. Just a friendly match. Usually the best of friends would turn on each other for the chance to advance in rank. These two kids look like they are just playing. In fact, that was exactly what they were doing. Naruto would dodge every shot Konohamaru threw at him, and Naruto wouldn't even attack. I have to give him a chance to reach Chunin. He can still make it even if I win, so I giving him the chance to show off his skills. Naruto dodged another punch from a Konohamaru clone. He isn't bad at all. This kid really took that statement I made to heart. There are no shortcuts. Naruto decided to show everyone his new signature technique, his father's old one. He pulled a tri-pronged kunai out of his special pouch. Those who could see were immediately surprised, especially those who remembered the fourth. Naruto held out his right hand and began charging a rasengan, a wind-charged rasengan. This surprised the crowd even more. Even the young children had seen pictures of the fourth, prized jutsu. The wind spiraled off of the ball in his hand like blades. Konohamaru just stood there staring at what he knew to be a deadly attack, a cage-level jutsu. Naruto held the kunai in his left hand as he initiated his father's time alteration jutsu. Instantly Naruto had crossed over 30 meters and had the swirling ball of death inches away from his friend's chest. The winds were shredding his shirt, but not one managed to actually touch his flesh. Konohamaru just stared at the glowing ball. Naruto smiled at his rival. The ball vanished and the kunai was at Konohamaru's throat in an instant. Konohamaru, who had just seen his life flash before his eyes, raised his arm. Proctor, I forfeit. Understood. The winner of this match is Naruto Uzumaki. Wait, Naruto had moved up next to the proctor and was whispering in the proctor's ear. The crowd saw the proctor's eyes increase in size by 10 times. The proctor jumped up to the Hokage's box and conversed with her for a moment. She nodded and he returned to his place. Correction, the winner of the match is Naruto Uzumaki, son of the 4th Hokage. Naruto Uzumaki stared up into the stunned faces of the village. No one in the entire crowd so much as moved. Most couldn't even breathe. The Hokage suddenly stood up. Naruto Uzumaki is indeed the only son of the 4th Hokage of this city. His name was changed and his identity protected from birth for obvious reasons. Before I go any further, I must ask you, Naruto. Now that you have the right, will you repeal the S-ranked secret on your birth? Yes, you can tell them. Naruto Uzumaki was born on the same day that the Kyuubi attacked our city, the same day on which the 4th was killed. The 4th performed a sealing jutsu that took the Kyuubi's soul and sealed it into a vessel. The only vessel capable of holding the most powerful of the demon lords was a human, and only one just born would be able to hold it without dying of chakra coil expansion. Naturally, the 4th chose his own son to contain the Kyuubi while he sacrificed his life to seal it. Naruto became the container of the most powerful demon in the world, and despite the 4th's wishes, at this she frowned and glared at many present, he was hated and abused. This was in utter disrespect for the two men who stopped the Kyuubi permanently. So now you have the truth, children of the village. Will you judge him as your parents did, unjustly and biased, or will you make your own decision about this person who is likely your friend? Hinata, while she had already known about the Kyuubi, had not known about his relation to the fourth. She was crying all over again for Naruto when she spoke up. I love Naruto and that wouldn't change even if he were the Kyuubi. Who you are doesn't change what you do, it is what you do that makes you who you are. Naruto has only strived to achieve his dream of becoming Hokage and he is one of the greatest friends any of us have ever had. Yes, Gaara had stood up. I knew about the Kyuubi since we fought during the invasion. Naruto is the only reason why any of you are even alive. If he hadn't have stopped me then most of your city would be destroyed right now. Jiraiya, who had been watching beside Kakashi, was next to speak. I personally trained Naruto and I can tell you that he is an exact replica of his father, except stronger. I know because I trained both. I have also trained this young man and can personally attest that while he is sometimes hot-headed and rash he has only fought for his friends in dreams. No one who fights as hard as he does in attempt to protect his loved ones could possibly be the Kyuubi reincarnate. Kakashi stood next to Jiraiya now. I might have not treated Naruto well to begin with, but when he was my teammate he was not only strong, but strong of heart. If it wasn't for him I would be dead many times over. I don't know why I didn't see it before. This is so troublesome. Naruto has the power of the demon fox in him, but I have never heard or seen him use it for evil. Sure, he plays pranks, but most of us deserved it. I would place my life in his hands. Me too. Not many people know this, but I strive to be like Naruto. When people always called him names and trod on his feeling, he would just smile and prove them wrong. I wanted to be like that when I was called fat. I am delightfully plump and Naruto is my friend. Naruto is an honorable man, of which there are few. I would not only put my life in his hands, but I would trust him as my clan's future leader if that was what he strove for. I always made fun of him. I don't know what to say. I am sorry, Naruto. I stand with Shika and Choji on this one. Naruto rocks. Never has such a man come by since Guy Sensei who was so full of the passion of youth as Naruto. I would train with him any day. He is an admirable man. I stand with Naruto. He bought all his kunai at my parents' store, even as a kid. I remember trying to teach him how to throw them once. He just couldn't get it, but he kept trying and trying. A week later he came back to me with a smile on his face and showed me how he could hit the target dead on every time. I want to help him reach his next goal too. I stand with Naruto. I don't like long speeches, but I would follow Naruto's leadership to the ends of the earth because I know he could bring me back. He eats at my restaurant almost daily and I knew he was the Kyuubi vessel even then. It is a shame he wasn't as mistreated. My father and mother died in the attack, and I know Naruto is not to blame. Tsunade was the last to speak. I personally would not be here if it wasn't for Naruto. He saved my life in battle with Orochimaru and he was the only reason I decided to come and be the 5th Hokage of this town. Now that Naruto's secret is out, I will also inform you that the one who has rebuilt the Uzumaki clan's complex is Naruto and he is the sole owner of the property. Now, unless there are any reasons why we shouldn't go on. The last battle of the finals is about to take place. Naruto is standing in the arena with tears streaming down his eyes. He had expected to lose at least one friend, but they had all stood by him. Hinata appeared by his side only moments later. Naruto, I know how much this means to you. Hinata. Proctor. Hinata raised her hand. Yes. I am going to forfeit, Proctor. What? Naruto had his hand in the air. I said that I forfeit. The victory in Hinata's. Naruto. Tsunade was speaking from her box. Why do you forfeit? If I didn't forfeit, then Hinata would have won anyway. Explain. She would only have to make eye contact with me and I would have lost. Why? Because I love her and couldn't hurt her if I tried. Not the most reasonable explanation, but it satisfies me. The winner of the match and of the Chunin exams is Hinata Hyuga. The entire stadium, including the Hyugas, began to cheer and applaud. Even the Hyugas who didn't agree with Hinata's plan applauded, knowing the added honor that would come to their clan from her victory. The applause was equally for Naruto as much as it was for Hinata. They stood on the battlefield and held hands and waved at the applauding crowd. Only a few people in the stadium were not standing or applauding. The Hyuga Elder Council was leaving, angry with the young heiress, and Hiyashi Hyuga was sitting and pondering this new information. Some of the members of the branch family were crying for joy and hugging each other. They, as well as most of the town, had heard of Hiyashi's bet with Naruto and knew that this meant that Hinata would be the heiress and they would soon be free. They only needed to wait until Hinata turned 18, which was only months away. Naruto turned to Hinata. "You want to see my new home?" "Of course. Hell, if our Hokage trusts him, why can't we?" "I don't see why not. The whole idea was that he was the Kyuubi. I guess I never really thought about the whole sealing process." "You fools, he still contains the accursed fox. Could any mere human contain that kind of power and not be corrupted by it? He probably thinks of the Kyuubi as a friend." "How can you know? It was the fourth, the greatest Hokage, who invented the seal and chose his own son to carry it. If there was any chance of the demon being released, don't you think he would have told someone?" "That doesn't matter, the point is that the child contained a demon. If that demon were to even get a small portion of control over the boy, most of the city would probably be destroyed." "I doubt that very much, honorable council leader. If, as you say, the Kyuubi would kill the city as he came out, then why did he save us when the Gaara kid attempted to destroy us? He was free at that time, you know it, because we all sensed the demon's power. Instead of killing us, he stopped the demon. No, I say that we give this young man a chance. We haven't tried that yet." "Fine, what is the vote? 4-7, alright, the motion to allow the demon child his life has passed. The next point on our agenda is the young heiress. I don't see why this is even a point on our agenda now. She proved to be stronger than her sister, she can even do the kaiden. Not only that, but our clan leader promised her the title of heir should she win." Yes, we know that. This is not about that. This is about her continued relationship with the demon child. I think that now that we recognized him as the fourth son, we should address him by his proper name." "Fine, her relationship with Naruto. What is there to discuss? He has no Hyuga blood, does he? He can't get permission to marry her if he has no Hyuga blood. That is the problem. We have been discussing and looking back at the cadet branch of the family. It turns out that the demon, I mean the Uzumaki's mother, was actually Hakura Hyuga, a prominent member of the branch family and Neji Hyuga's aunt. On his mother's or father's side. Father's. Damn it, so he does contain Hyuga blood. Does he know about his mother? We are forced to assume so. I don't see what the problem is. If the kid is as powerful as everyone says, then wouldn't it be a great asset and increase to our clan to have him as the clan head? He has strong blood, much similar to ours. The Uzumakis, before their destruction, had a long history of companionship with us. It seemed like 1 out of every 3 Uzumakis would marry a Hyuga. And after marriages like this, the bloodline of the Hyugas or Uzumakis would become even more powerful. It appears that the main family even started with the marriage between a Hyuga male and an Uzumaki female. Their children were so powerful that they were declared superior to the rest of the clan. Yes, that is all true. But if Lady Hinata married the Uzumaki, then it would be the Uzumakis who would gain from it, not the Hyugas. No, we would gain from it. Every child Hinata would bear would most likely marry into the Hyuga family. We could encourage it, even make clan laws about it. Eventually the Uzumakis and the Hyugas would both benefit from this. If, on the other hand, the Uzumaki marries some other person, then you can bet that we will not benefit from it at all. In fact, the dramatic increase of power in 2 other clans who would not be our friends would hurt us. I would suggest not only letting the 2 get married, but encouraging it. Hiyashi, when did you arrive? I just came back from visiting my daughter, the one in the hospital. I heard the entire conversation. I am going to allow my daughter to court Naruto Uzumaki. Also, in 3 months when my daughter turns 18, I will announce her to be not only the clan heir, but head. She will take over in my place on that day. But Hiyashi, you have been one of the most powerful clan heads to exist. No, I was a fool. My wife is rolling in her grave right now because I ignored her daughter and treated my family without honor. I intend to rectify my mistakes by showing her the proper respect she deserves. I am leaving right now to ask forgiveness from Naruto and then give him my permission to court and marry my daughter. That is the end of this discussion. Yes, sir. Sorry, updated so it is right. No idea what was running through my head during my checking. Oh well. Also, the Hyugas are talking about this at their complex, but the spacing was off, so I thought it might be confusing. Fixed that too. Naruto was showing his friends around his clan's complex immediately following the Chunin exams. Many people had shown up at the complex's gates to see this one-man clan. The complex was almost the polar opposite of the Hyuga complex. Where the Hyugas had expanded the buildings to cover almost the entire area they owned, Naruto had kept the amount of buildings to a minimum. Fields with training posts covered most of the space. Orchards had been replanted along with gardens of vegetables and flowers. There were few actually houses to live in, being that there was only one person in this clan, but plenty of space to add on. The main house was similar in size to the Hokage's mansion, 3 stories tall and larger than almost any building in Konoha. Naruto had given his friends the grand tour. All of the furniture and objects that his home contained were made of wood, crafted by Naruto's own hands. It was a beautiful home, and many of his friends were jealous. He had placed his family pictures everywhere, not leaving a space without a reminder of what his family was like. Hinata happened across one of these pictures. Naruto. Yeah, Hinata. The person standing next to the fourth, she is Hyuga, but who is she? She was my mom. Remember when I asked you if you knew Hakura Hyuga? That is my mom. She married into my clan from yours. Turns out that she isn't barely related to you, though she is Neji's aunt. So you are part Hyuga? Yep. Hinata didn't know what to think about that one. I think that I should be happy, because Naruto seems happy. What if we are more closely related than he thinks we are? And his mother, she has the caged bird seal. Naruto's friends had all sat down at his massive table and had begun to feast on instant ramen when Hiashi Hyuga entered the complex along with the Hokage. Naruto felt their presence and was happy to note there was no bloodlust in the Hyugas. In fact, it seemed to Naruto that Hiashi was moderately happy. Naruto excused himself from the table and immediately appeared in front of the intruding Hyuga and the Hokage. Hiashi Hyuga, sir, it is nice to see you. Welcome to my clan's property. The same goes for me, Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunade, are you here to say who got Chunin? Yes, Naruto, I am. Well, who did? This year we had the largest amount of Chunin made since the beginning of the exams. Konohamaru Sarutobi and his partner Moegi. Hinata, the winner of the whole thing. Sakura, though she was right on the edge, the last one to make Chunin was not a close call at all. Naruto, congratulations. Yes, so now I am going to be able to take the Jonin test. Come in tomorrow and we will see. Okay, so, Hiashi Hyuga, sir, why exactly are you here? I wish to compliment you on your matches in the exams. Also, I would like to assure you that what I said would happen if my daughter won will come true. I would also like to tell you that I am sorry. What? I am sorry for the abuse and the hatred you have suffered through. You must know that much of it came from or was fostered by the Hyugas. We had no idea that you were actually the fourth son and last of the Uzumaki clan. It changes our whole perspective on you. Where once we saw a random orphan who contained the most powerful of all demons, now we see the son of the greatest shinobi to come from our city who has never attempted to do us harm. I do not mean that we are going to respect you just because of your name. Your fight with me and the revelation that you were more than we thought you were made me think. I couldn't find one example of where you had let loose the Kyuubi except when your friends' lives were on the line. It wasn't your name that changed me, it was what you have done in your life. I don't know what to say. I would also like to extend the hand of friendship between our two clans. If you look back on your family tree you will find that our two clans were very close. I wish to continue that and extend any help my clan can offer your clan. Also, I will grant you my permission to court my daughter. I have seen you two together and it reminds me of my own wife and me. I will not, cannot, stop you from dating her. If you intend to marry her, then that is fine with me as well. Just tell me the date. Wow, thank you, I don't know what to say. I accept your hand in friendship and any help my clan can give you, then just ask. I happen to have gotten very good in the making of wood furniture. Never mind. As for dating your daughter, I appreciate it. Hinata loves you and doesn't like doing things without your approval. This will make things much better. Yes, and just so you know I intend to apologize to Hinata when she comes home tonight for the ways I have treated her over the past years. Our fight, Naruto, opened my eyes in many ways. It was only today that I made my decision. Hinata will be the heir of our clan, and quite possibly a member of yours as well. Naruto blushed. Just thinking about Hinata as his wife made him blush even harder. Well, I am going to go for Jonin starting tomorrow, so if you and your clan want, they can watch. I didn't even get to unleash a half of my power to anyone yet. It'll be fun. I might be there. Good. Goodbye, Honorable Naruto Uzumaki. Hiashi left the complex, leaving behind a stunned Naruto. Hiashi and Tsunade were almost out of earshot when they heard Naruto celebrating. Yes, I have permission. All of Naruto's friends had heard the blonde's exclamation, but had no idea what he was talking about. Naruto suddenly appeared at the table with a large grin on his face. Guess what, guys? What? They all said in unison. Guess who made Chunin? Who? Well, Konohamaru and his teammate. Hinata, of course. Sakura. Sakura sucked in a huge amount of air. Lee was ready to either console or congratulate. Made it. Everyone cheered. Hinata was still looking at Naruto. Is that it? Did no one else make it? Well, one more person made it. Shikamaru groaned. Naruto, it isn't like we all didn't hear you shout out loud the whole, yes, so now I can take the Jonin test, thing. Yeah, I made it. And I am going to participate in a Jonin test tomorrow, maybe. What? Isn't it a requirement to have done at least 20 B ranked missions as a Chunin? Yep, but over my training I have completed over 20 B ranked missions and then some on my own, so Tsunade is going to try to get me a waiver. When are you going to do it, Naruto? As soon as possible. Hinata couldn't take her eyes off of Naruto. He hadn't been able to look her in the eyes without blushing. It is like what I did back then. Hinata decided to ask him a question. Naruto, is that what you got permission for? Naruto looked at her and blushed again. No. What did you get permission for that made you so happy? Well, I don't think. It's a secret. Yeah, a secret. I'll tell you later, Hinata. The rest of his friends groaned. They all wanted to know what the secret was, too. You are a troublesome person, Naruto. Thanks, Shikamaru. Now, I have a date with a lovely young woman and I can't be late, okay? Hinata almost passed out before she realized that the lovely young woman he was talking about was her. Then she just decided to blush as her friends all smiled her way. They all headed out of the complex, leaving Naruto and Hinata standing in front of the main building. The sun was setting after the extremely long day. Naruto couldn't help but stare as the sun bounced off of Hinata's eyes and made her look beautiful beyond words. Hinata realized that he was staring at her and she blushed. Some things just won't change. Naruto took her hand in his. Hey, Hinata, I was wondering if you like this place. Oh, I love it, Naruto. So much more wide open than our complex. The gardens are beautiful and I don't even know where you got all of the flowers. I haven't even seen some of them before. The house is amazing and the view is spectacular. Yeah, you are. It took a moment for Hinata to realize that he was talking about her and not the sky. Hinata, I was wondering. Yes, Naruto. Well, I was just thinking about how I don't exactly have any other people in my clan. You know, like I am my own clan. Well. Come on, Kit, this isn't that hard. Just ask her if she wants to be your mate and that is that. She will say yes. It isn't that easy. Why, are you afraid of what she might say? No matter how you ask, she is going to say the same answer. You are making me get all nervous, too. So get it over with. Naruto. Hinata had seen Naruto space out for a second and she was worried about him. What is he trying to say? Hinata, I love you. I love you, too. Hinata. Yes. Will you, Naruto, are you okay? Usually I am the one to stutter. Hinata smiled at him, but she silently wondered what could be causing the most outgoing ninja in the village to stutter. Yeah, I am great. Okay, so you know I got permission from someone to do something. Well, it just so happens that your dad came by. And, well, we talked and he actually apologized and said some stuff. He wanted our clans to be friends. That's great, Naruto. And, well, he kinda told me that he would allow us to date. And then he said that he gave me his permission to ask you. Ask me what? Ask you, what I am trying to ask you. Which is? Quote ellipsis. I want to ask you if you want to. If you want to go for a walk. Hinata looked confused. Her father allowed Naruto to take her for a walk. Okay, Well, it was a start. I would love to. Naruto and Hinata eventually came to the same swings that they had come to on their first date. They sat down again, but Naruto looked about as nervous as someone could possibly be. He looks like I did before I fought with Neji. Naruto. Yeah. Whatever is worrying you, don't worry about it. You shouldn't have to worry about anything. Is this about me? Naruto nodded. Well then tell me what is bothering you, I can change. No, don't change. Well then how can I make you feel better? Hinata. I want to ask you if will, Hinata Hyuga, will you marry me? Hinata stopped her swing. What do I say? I can't move. Why? Oh, why does this always happen to me? Hinata jumped out of her swing and tackled Naruto to the ground, kissing him. Naruto wasn't even able to breathe until almost 5 minutes later. You know, Hinata, if you get into a habit of tackling me whenever you want to kiss me, then maybe I should learn some new defensive jutsu. Sorry. No, it is fine, I like it. So is that a yes? Yes, I will marry you. This is the happiest day of my life. Sir. Yes. We have found the Kyuubi container. He has returned to Konoha as of just over a month ago. Why haven't I heard about it before now? We still had our agents searching the southern mountains. Please don't kill me, sir. Quote. No. Fool, Uchiha. Yes, sir. Find the Kyuubi and return him to me. Sir. Yes, sir. Do not fail me. Hinata returned to her home with a heart almost bursting with joy. Naruto asked me to marry him. This is the epitome of every one of my dreams. The one I love asked me to marry him. I am getting married. Hinata was literally dancing through the halls of her complex towards her room. She couldn't even keep the smile from her face when her father approached her after exiting his office. Hinata, I wish to speak with you privately. Hinata cringed. Privately usually meant him telling her how worthless she was. Maybe it will be different. Naruto did say he gave me permission to date him. Hiyashi led his daughter into his office. After having a seat and offering her one, which he had never done, he spoke. Hinata, this is very hard for me to say. I have only recently come to realize how much of a fool I have been. If your mother was still here, then I know I would not have acted the way I have for these many long years. I wish to beg your forgiveness for my actions toward you. You are indeed a strong and worthy heir. You were strong even when I called you weak. The reason was that you looked so much like her. Your hair was the exact same shade and your eyes were identical. I hated you for being a constant reminder of what I had lost. So I made you cut your hair and acted so you wouldn't look at me with her eyes. When you lost to Hanabi once, I found a reason to call you weak, even though we both knew you let her win. I destroyed all of your self-confidence that day. Now I will help you rebuild. You will be a strong heir, kinder than I or Hanabi. I know you always do your best and I will support you in anything you wish me to. As for Naruto, I fully admit you to see him as much as you wish. I had this same talk with him today. You will be a highly respected member of this clan from now on, and I know you will do your best to get rid of the cursed seals. Hinata had begun to cry tears of joy throughout her father's apology. How was she going to tell him that she forgave him, that she had forgiven him from the beginning? Father, I accept your apology and I love you. Even when you told me how worthless I was, I loved you. I could never not love you, father. Hiyashi was crying from this knowledge. He had expected to not be forgiven at all. Father, Naruto asked me tonight if I would marry him. I told him I would, if that is okay with you. Yes, daughter, I only want you to be happy. After years of doing the opposite, it is time I did something your mother would approve of. The father and daughter embraced for the first time in many, many years. So he has his own clan now. That is interesting. Too bad his success will be short-lived. Itachi Uchiha was directly outside the Uzumaki complex before the sun even rose. Naruto has risen at an early hour and done some light training. Itachi had watched as Naruto did basic exercises. This kid isn't so tough. If this is his daily training, then this will be really easy. He is such a wimp. I bet you could eat him with your eyes closed. Yeah, what? Itachi turned around to see Naruto directly behind him. He got back there without me even sensing him. Itachi activated his Mangekyo Sharingan, only to see that Naruto had red slitted eyes. He tried to use the genjutsu his eyes were famous for, but it did not affect him. Having a little trouble. Good, 'cause I learned how to do this last night after sensing you approach the city. How the hell did he sense me last night? I was using my best stealth jutsu. You must be very aware of your surroundings. You don't know the half of it. I have been looking forward to this day, Itachi. Ever since I learned Sasuke wouldn't return to the city until he grew in power enough to kill you. I am going to kill you so he won't have to. How is the weakling anyway? He is probably either Orochimaru's next body by now or he is the new leader of Orochimaru's men. So you really think you can beat me? No, I don't think about such trivial things now. I know I can beat you. Hell, I could have killed you 10 times while we were just talking, but I think I will use you as warm-up for the Jonin exam I plan to take today. Bring it on then. Oh, I will. Naruto, who had been many meters away from Itachi, suddenly had his fist in Itachi's gut. What the hell? Itachi flew hundreds of meters into a wall. He jumped out of it towards the rising Naruto. Just as Naruto got within Itachi's range, Naruto suddenly vanished. Less than a second later, just as Itachi began his descent, 10 Narutos surrounded him in midair. Each pulled out a tri-pronged kunai. You should learn to leave me alone. I am the son of the fourth and you couldn't beat me even if I didn't have the Kyuubi in me. Naruto used his time alteration jutsu again and Itachi Uchiha suddenly became wrapped in hundreds of chakra wires that had been tied to the kunai. The Naruto clones landed and shoved the kunai into the ground, keeping a chakra wire for each and pouring chakra into the wires so that Itachi couldn't move. Naruto walked up to him and looked at him with his red slitted eyes into Itachi's spinning blades. I hold your life in my hands, yet I stop. Why? Because you are a fool. Itachi suddenly poured out a massive amount of chakra, outdoing the chakra of the Naruto clones. Naruto sighed as Itachi drew back his fist in an attempt to hit Naruto. He dodged the punch and launched Itachi into the wall again. No, you are the fool. You think you are so powerful with your stupid eyes. Sasuke too. You and your stupid eyes. Why do you care about them more than the actual people of your village or clan? The Hyugas are the same. When I am Hokage, things like that will end. Naruto used his shadow clone jutsu to create 20,000 clones. Many of the clones escorted the citizens away from the area and some went to go get the Hokage and whoever else could come. Itachi found himself facing off against more Narutos than he could comprehend, even with the Sharingan. But, much to his surprise, Naruto released them right after the area was clear and help was on the way. Do you even know how screwed you are? Fool, even if you could kill me they will still come after you until you give us the Kyuubi or your life. No, Itachi, I am going to go after them until they are dead, not the other way around. Itachi ran up to Naruto and threw another punch that would have killed a normal ninja. Itachi saw what happened next, but didn't believe it. Naruto ducked his punch using only his pure speed and pulled his arm back. Itachi saw his hit coming, but couldn't move fast enough to block it. Naruto's fist glowed red and claws extended from his fingers as his hand came forward. Itachi, as muscle-bound as he was, couldn't stop the ferocious attack of Naruto. His hand went completely through Itachi's left side. Naruto pulled his fist out and struck again, this time removing one of Itachi's legs completely at the knee. Itachi could still see all of Naruto's moves before they happened, but had no hope of blocking them at all. Itachi hadn't even had a chance to fall down as Naruto charged a perfect rasengan wind style and literally blew off Itachi's arms one at a time. The fight between the missing S-rank ninja and the new Chunin was over, with one lying on the ground bleeding profusely. The Hokage and many other ninjas had just arrived. Oh, hi Tsunade. I saw this guy sneaking around and figured he need to be taken care of. Think you can heal him enough to interrogate him? Naruto, how in hell did you manage to do this to one of the most powerful ninjas in the world? Itachi was screaming and writhing on the ground as healers from the hospital tried to save him from blood loss. The pool around Naruto's feet continued to grow with each drop of blood that came off of his now normal hand. Neji, standing next to the Hokage, noticed that none of the blood was his. It was nothing, but, hey, think I can get Jonin for it? I mean, I just beat an S rank, that should be enough to get me Jonin at least. I would have to discuss it with the council, but it is a definite possibility. Alright. Naruto, why did you cause so much damage to him? Naruto stopped celebrating and frowned. How could I not? Any less and the guy might had gotten up. But also I was doing it for Sasuke and the rest of the Uchiha clan. This bastard killed his entire clan to get advanced eyes. He didn't deserve the life I let him keep. Naruto put his hands in his pockets. He ruined the lives of hundreds, one who was once my friend. If it wasn't for him, then Sasuke wouldn't have left for Orochimaru. Not only that, but he intends to kill me, so I wasn't going to give him the chance. Kakashi stared at the hopeless Uchiha before addressing Naruto. Naruto, what you did right there, it shouldn't have been possible. Itachi is easily at the same level as Orochimaru. If you did this to him, then think of what I will do to Orochimaru when he shows his ugly head next. Naruto gave his signature big grin at that. I can't wait to get that snake. Kid, even I have to admit that what you did there was impressive. I must have adapted very quickly to your new strength and forgotten our previous strength. We might be the most powerful person in the world, and that is without most of your power. I just put a little in my fist and eyes. You could probably take this town over. I don't want to do that. I want to lead it into prosperity so that I will be as respected as my father. A noble dream, though the other one would get it done faster. Whatever. Naruto walked off to find his fiancée, but was suddenly assaulted on all sides by his friends. Naruto, what happened? Is that Itachi Uchiha? Wow, who did that to the guy? He is totally wasted. I thought he was supposed to be an S rank. Hey, Naruto, aren't you going to answer us? Yes, if you would all give me the chance. His friends instantly went quiet. I did it to him, and it was Itachi Uchiha. Yes, he was an S-rank ninja. Now it's my turn to ask. Does anyone know where Hinata is? Shino walked up to Naruto. I last saw Hinata in the flower shop. She looked like she was about to explode with happiness, if such a thing was possible. Do you know why she would look that way? What do you mean, Shino? The rest of Naruto's friends couldn't comprehend a Hinata about to explode. Lee imagined a Hinata as large as Choji and shuddered. Have you ever seen Hinata humming aloud in public? Or skipping? Not one of them had. Never in their lives had Hinata come out of her shy little shell to so much as talk loudly in public. So, Naruto, do you have any idea why she would be acting like that? Yeah, I do, but I don't intend to tell all of you guys unless she says I can. His friends groaned again, each wanting to know the secret. Sakura just stood her ground. Fine, we are going with you until you find Hinata and ask her. You didn't, you know. No, we didn't do that. Oh, Ino looked disappointed, and that would have been the gossip of the year. Well, we still are coming with you. Yeah, Naruto sighed as his friends followed him around on his heels. Oh well, I should be happy. I just got rid of one of the two people I really wanted to get rid of. And I am getting married to a beautiful girl. And I might have just achieved Jonin status. Yeah, I am feeling good. Naruto's sigh of defeat turned into a smile as large as ever graced his face. Naruto headed off towards where Hinata had last been seen. I was going to tell them all anyway, but now that they asked they can just wait in suspense. Hinata was shopping. It was an activity she rarely did, being as she rarely had money she felt like spending. After all, why would she spend money on a failure? But Hinata was happy today. So happy that she couldn't possibly get down about anything. I wonder if Naruto would like this. Or maybe he would like it if I wore this. Oh well, he would like me anyway. I thought that just being in love with someone who likes you felt great, but being in love with someone who loves you back is amazing. Hinata walked out of the store she was in to see a large crowd down the street. Looks like something is going on over there. Hinata managed to stop a man running to the scene. Sir, what is going on over there? You mean you don't know? Itachi Uchiha came to town last night and tried to fight Naruto. But that kid smoked him. Itachi apparently didn't even stand a chance. Naruto wasn't even hit. The man ran to go see the blood of the most famous killer in Konoha. Hinata didn't know what to think. Worry, but I know I shouldn't. I am proud. My Naruto beat one of the most powerful ninjas in the world. I wish I could have seen it. Hinata decided that it would be better if she didn't see what she assumed was a bloody mess. She instead walked over to her favorite food stand. Sticky buns were her favorite food in the world. As much as Naruto loved ramen, she loved sticky buns. She bought a dozen and then headed off to find either Naruto or one of her friends to celebrate her good day. Naruto had gotten bored. For fun, he had replaced himself with a clone which the others were now following fruitlessly. Naruto, on the other hand, was looking all over for Hinata. If I were Hinata I would be there. No, then over there. Ow, he wasn't having much luck. You would think that the best shinobi in town could find his fiancée. Oh, there she is. Naruto suddenly appeared by her side. Hi, Hinata. She jumped a little, but managed to keep a hold of her sack of something sweet. Naruto used his enhanced sense of smell. Sticky buns. Hinata, aren't you sweet enough? Hinata smiled at him. Hi, Naruto, I was just going to find someone to celebrate my great day with. There are more than enough roles for both of us. Alright, you had me at, hi, Naruto. They walked off towards the park. So, Naruto, I heard that you just defeated Itachi Uchiha. Yep, one bad guy down, only a ton more to go. He was one of those guys after you for the fox, wasn't he? Yeah, but now he's gone. I mean, he'll probably live, but he is never going anywhere again. Oh, so you let him live. Naruto, you just might be the greatest person I have ever seen. Nah, you have a mirror, don't you? Naruto, thanks. Hinata blushed. Don't mention it. Now, about those sticky buns. By the time they arrived at the swings they had already devoured all of the sticky buns, leaving time for them to just sit. Sadly, yet inevitably, Naruto forgot about his clone leading all of his friends. The clone walked right past them and all of his friends stared at the ninja in a swing who just smiled at them. The Naruto in front of them disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Naruto. Hi, guys, I just decided to split up the search party, you know. Yeah, whatever. So, now that we have the two of you cornered, why are you so happy, Hinata? Yeah, Hinata, why are you so happy? Naruto smiled at her as he asked her the question he knew the answer to. He wanted her to say it. Well, my father said that he was sorry for how he treated me. I made Chunin. Naruto asked me to marry him. What? I am getting married to Naruto. All of Hinata's friends stared at the two sitting on the swings with jaws unhinged and eyes almost out of their sockets. Ino was the first to say anything. Ah, Hinata got her wish. Good for you. Ino jumped up and down at this new piece of information that would soon be heard throughout the village. Wait, so you two are getting married? Everyone was still a little stunned. Yep. So, you are like, getting married? Yes. Okay, congratulations, Naruto and Hinata. When is the date? Probably the day after I become head of the clan. Why then? So she can change all she wants to in her clan before she leaves it and joins mine. Great, am I invited? Everyone said the last part. Yes, well, yes. No one's spirit of youth shines brighter than Naruto's does. Lee, you used to say that about yourself and guy, maybe you could learn a few things from Naruto. Like what, Sakura? Like learn how to take a girl out on a decent date that doesn't involve push-ups or laps around the city. I think I can do that. I guess, my angel, I would do anything for thee. Yeah, Lee, we know, Shikamaru was probably the only person not stunned to silence by the engagement of his friends. Yeah, well, I guess I might as well tell you all anyway. Me and Tamari got engaged also. We dated off and on for almost 2 years now and she decided it was time to get married, so you can all come to that too, I guess. Now it was Naruto who stared slack-jawed at his friend. Hinata just smiled, knowing anything was possible if she could marry Naruto. Congratulations, Shikamaru, I know you will be happy, I know that I am. Hinata leaned her head against her love's shoulder. Naruto leaned his head on hers. Yeah, there are much worse things that could happen. Like, for instance, not ever falling in love. Naruto, only over a month ago you said you didn't know what love was. Yet now you know. How did you figure it out? Ten was glancing over at Neji as she asked. Let's just say I ran into it head first and then it sort of grabbed me by the shoulders and made me see it for what it was. Naruto had indeed achieved Jonin by defeating Itachi Uchiha. In the next weeks he broke records in Konoha. He was given the earliest A-rank mission ever given to a new Jonin. His task was to protect the case cage against imminent Akatsuki attack. Not only did Naruto complete this task, but he eliminated the 2 Akatsuki who had attempted to kidnap Gaara. Naruto had been celebrated as a hero in the village of the sand, but soon returned home to be with his fiancée. The mission had taken almost a whole month, and with little less than a month to go until his wedding, Naruto wanted to spend time with his wife-to-be. Where are they? Sir, numbers 5 and 8 were eliminated by the Kyuubi container, just as number 1 was. That leaves only 3 of us. They all failed. Sir. Bring me Orochimaru. Sir, yes sir. We must end the Uzumaki threat now. Naruto, how are you doing today? Just fine, Tsunade. I assume you have a new mission for me today. Can it be one here in town? I kinda want to stay around at least until I get married. And after, I would assume. Yes, actually. Well, that is good, because I do have something I would like you to do for me here in town. Can you meet me in the council chambers at noon today? Yeah, but I can't guarantee I will enjoy it. Naruto remembered the council as being a group of old people who had wanted him dead at birth. Oh, I think you will. Now go away and leave me alone. Whatever you say, Tsunade, Bakken. Naruto was gone. As Naruto walked the streets in search of his fiancée, he noticed something that was new about the town. It is like every person here is doing exactly the opposite of what they had been doing before. Now I get kind looks from shopkeepers and passers-by. Now people wave and know my name, they say hello instead of curse me. This whole town has changed. And it was a change for the better. Yeah, I know what you mean, Kit. Well, it looks like they no longer hate me for you. Yeah, I salute you on that one, kid. I truly did some awful things to your city here. You almost sound repentant. Well, having conversation with someone besides myself has certainly had an effect on me. I might be a demon, but not all demons are evil. Maybe I never was supposed to be evil in the first place. Of course that could just be your mind inside mine. Whatever you say, but the nicer you get makes it much easier on me. Nice. Well, I don't really think that is the word for me. Maybe, benevolent yet supreme dictator of the universe. Ha 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 ha. What? Orochimaru. What is it? Naruto Uzumaki is becoming a pest in my eyes. I will grant you much power, say, the two tails, if you aid me in destroying him, and much more than that if you can capture him alive. Ha, the brat is actually causing trouble for the great Akatsuki. Ha ha ha, you must have become very weak for you to be so easily beaten. Quote ellipsis. Itachi Uchiha was utterly beaten by the Kyuubi container. He never even touched the boy before he was destroyed. Orochimaru was shocked at this. Even Itachi would have come close to his power, or would have if Orochimaru did not have this new body. This is interesting. Orochimaru glared at the man before him with Sharingan eyes. I accept the offer. Will you be joining me in the attack? No, I must prepare for the ceremony. I see. Orochimaru certainly didn't see. The Akatsuki were probably the only group that Orochimaru knew nothing about, except they wanted all of the demon containers. Then I will be back soon. The grass ninja, the great traitor sage of Konoha, left the presence of the Akatsuki. Do not fail, or I will be forced to go after him myself. Naruto wasn't able to find his fiancée anywhere before he was supposed to report to the council chambers. Man, you would think the most beautiful woman in the village would be easy to find. You know, you don't have to brag about your vixen to me. I know all about her. The lovely eyes, the flowing hair, the not too small, not too big breasts of hers. Hey, that's my fiancée you are talking about. So, keep it to yourself. Ha 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 ha. Naruto arrived at the doors to the council chambers to find no one else but the very person he had been looking for. Hinata, what are you doing here? Oh, I was asked to come by Tsunade. I don't know anything about it. Well, I was trying to find you for almost 2 hours. I had almost forgotten how beautiful you look like. Well, maybe I should remind you. Hinata pulled him close and they kissed. Yep, that worked. Okay Hinata, now we need to get in there. Naruto led Hinata by the hand into the chambers of the city council. What greeted them was the entire council of elders, including Hiashi Hyuga, and the Hokage. Tsunade greeted them. The room was massive and circular. It was near the top of the Hokage tower. The rear half of the circle was entirely covered by reed blinds, but Naruto knew that it was from the balcony beyond that the Hokage would make any important announcements. Naruto, Hinata, I am glad you showed up. Hinata, you may take a seat, for you are here as a witness. Naruto, please stand before the council. Naruto took his place in the center of the circle of elders as Hinata sat in a chair near the door. Naruto Uzumaki, you are a Jonin of Konoha, correct? Yes, ma'am. Your record is quite light compared to other ninjas. But you have completed successfully over 20 A-ranked missions and have eliminated the threat of at least 3 S-ranked missing ninja. Overall, you are quite an impressive ninja. Thank you, sir. Naruto Uzumaki, you are the son of the 4th Hokage of Konoha. Do you understand what it means to assume that level of leadership? The years of on-the-job training, the political as well as shinobi aspects of the job. Do you think you have what it takes to be a Kage? Naruto was starting to get excited. Yes, sir, I know I do. You have been called here because you have been recommended by many high-ranking ninjas to be the 6th Hokage. What you must understand is that this would mean that if we so choose to, you will be made the next in line. Over the next few years you would be trained in all aspects of the job. At the point of the 5th's retirement, you would be named Hokage of Konoha. We, the council, wish to know why you think you are a worthy candidate of the title Hokage. I do not think I am a worthy candidate for this position. Hinata gasped at this statement as she thought she was hearing Naruto give up his dream. I know that I am a worthy candidate for this position. I am not just the most able ninja in this town, as I used to think was the only requirement for this position. I know now that it takes much more. I know that I might not be the best at something, but being a leader means that you need to be able to take everyone you led and use their abilities as well as your own for the best of the city. For instance, I would not just make military strategy by myself, I would get someone like Shikamaru to help me. Not only that, but I know that I would sacrifice everything to protect this city and the ones I love in it. I would die for the freedom and lives of my friends and loved ones. I always strive to help those who are beaten down. One of the first things I would do as Hokage would be to help Hinata get rid of the caged bird seal used by the Hyuga main family, no offense Hiyashi sir. I want every person in this city to have a chance to be happy and safe. That is what I will do with my life, whether or not I ever become Hokage. The council were all silent at the end of Naruto's speech. Tsunade was smiling at him. Naruto Uzumaki, it is and was the opinion of the council that you are the perfect candidate for Hokage. Hiyashi Hyuga and the 5th convinced us of this before you even came. What you said just now. It has reinforced our decision. Naruto Uzumaki, you are hereby suspended from active duty as a ninja and placed under the tutorship of Tsunade, the 5th, in order to be proclaimed the 6th Hokage in approximately 1 year. Congratulations, son of the 4th. The council applauded as the door behind them opened to show most of the city's citizens below. Naruto knew that they had probably been broadcasting the interview over speakers by the way the entire city was cheering. Naruto walked out onto the balcony to see all of his friends and everyone he had ever known cheering for him. A single tear dropped from his eye as his smile grew. Hinata was suddenly at his side with his hand in hers. Naruto, isn't it all you ever wanted? Everything and more. Naruto felt Tsunade's presence behind him. Well, Naruto, it looks like that necklace I gave you didn't work. You are to report to me tomorrow for training. And wear these. Tsunade handed a pile of Hokage robes. You might as well get used to them. And congratulations as well, brat. Thanks, Bakken. Tsunade just smiled this time. Orochimaru stood next to the dead body of an Anbu Black Op agent as he watched the crowds cheer for Naruto. Ha! This will be easy. The next Hokage, PHH, his defeating Itachi was probably a fluke, or he drew on the Kyuubi completely. Time for the famous trickster to be tricked to his death. Orochimaru disappeared into the shadow. Naruto had dropped off Hinata at her complex and was heading back to his own when he saw a familiar image in the distance. Sasuke. Naruto immediately appeared next to the last Uchiha. Why are you here, Sasuke? Dobi, you should know as well as I that I still desire the Mangekyou Sharingan. I would congratulate you on being to Hokage in training, loser, but you will die tonight. Meet me at the Valley of the End in an hour. Do not be late or else I might be forced to go after your little girlfriend. The Sasuke clone disappeared as Naruto punched through it. Damn it! Naruto immediately went to the Hokage's office, but Tsunade was no longer there. He left a note on the door saying what he was doing and then took off. Why does this have to go on? Kid, didn't you notice anything different about Sasuke? Not really. Why? Some Hokage you'll make if you can't see subtleties like this one. Sasuke wasn't. Right. Okay, I don't follow you. He wasn't walking like Sasuke. He didn't carry himself like he normally does. Not only that, but even though he used the same insults he didn't speak in the same style that Sasuke does. So you are say that this isn't really Sasuke? No, but I think Orochimaru might have gotten his new body by now. So that was really Orochimaru? Yes, that makes sense. At least I won't have to hold back then. Yes, you won't need to, but will you? No, besides the remaining Akatsuki, Orochimaru is the last great enemy of peace in Konoha. It is my duty as the next Hokage to get him now. Good, if you need me I will be here. Naruto was nearly at the valley. When he arrived he wasn't surprised to find Sasuke standing at the bottom of the waterfall. Well, Naruto, it looks like you showed up. Well, I couldn't give up the chance of a lifetime to get rid of the number one wanted missing ninja and fight the body of my rival one last time, could I? Orochimaru was still for a moment. Then he began to laugh. No, I guess you couldn't. Orochimaru turned to face Naruto with Sasuke's face. It began to transform before his eyes to Orochimaru's real one. But the eyes, the matured, tri-blade Sharingan, remained on his face. Well then, shall we begin? Oh, yes, let's. Naruto decided to make the first move. He charged Orochimaru while drawing his father's kunai. The snake Sennin drew his own kunai and for the first time since he had returned from training had his first strike blocked. Naruto was fully prepared for this, knowing that he was fighting one of the most powerful ninjas in the world, and one that had recently received a power boost and could read every one of his movements before he even did them. Naruto charged his body with the Kyuubi chakra to enhance his own. His eyes turned red and slitted, his nails extended into claws, and his senses increased to the point where Naruto could have probably fought with his eyes closed. Orochimaru continued to block each and every one of Naruto's slashes and stabs with his kunai. Orochimaru could feel himself just barely being able to keep up with Naruto's speed. Each blow shook his arm. How can this child be so fast and strong? He isn't even using one tail of the Kyuubi yet. Naruto drew another kunai somehow and kept up the attack, desperately attempting to get a hit in on the snake. Once again, though, Orochimaru was just barely able to withstand his assault. Naruto suddenly jumped back from Orochimaru. He was smirking at the snake. Is that all you can do? I haven't even brought out one tail yet. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 100 Narutos appeared and surrounded the snake Sennin. Each one was charging up a rasengan. How is that possible? The sheer amount of chakra. The clones charged and began to try to hit him. 5 at a time, each attempting to hit him first. Orochimaru was lucky that each clone was slightly slower than the real Naruto. He had dodged and dissipated most of the clones when one finally nicked him in the side with a glowing ball. Orochimaru flew through the waterfall and into the rock behind it. Naruto appeared in front of the ninja just as he had gotten up. Had enough? Not yet. Orochimaru was suddenly at Naruto's side with a fist on his face. He is almost as fast as me. Naruto flew back through the waterfall and skid 100 yards across the water before managing to stand back up and stop his slide. Orochimaru had jumped after him and was ready to press his advantage. Striking Shadow Snake's jutsu. Snakes instantly extended from Orochimaru's mouth and arms. Suddenly Naruto seems to disappear and reappear 50 meters closer to Orochimaru. Then he disappeared again, this time appearing directly above Orochimaru. Naruto was moving too fast for him to block and he kicked him in the face twice, sending Orochimaru onto his back. The snakes extending from Orochimaru's arms, however, caught Naruto by the legs as he was about to land. They spun him around until Naruto somehow tangled them up. He spun around in the air and caused the snakes to drop him. When he landed on the water he disappeared again. Orochimaru was up and ready to continue. Naruto appeared a small distance away and Orochimaru sent his snakes out again. This time Naruto blocked each strike with an arm or a leg. Orochimaru kept it up, each time barely missing a chance to sink his snake's fangs into Naruto. He sent both snakes at once and Naruto did a sideways flip, catching their heads under his feet and breaking their necks. Naruto ran up the long coils of the snakes to their source. As he hit the snake, he knew that something was wrong. The water clone hadn't even broken up when the true Orochimaru came up out of the water and attempted to kick Naruto. This time, Naruto was ready. He caught the kick inches away from his face with one hand. Orochimaru was stunned for a moment by the sheer strength of the young man. A more worthy opponent I have never had. Naruto began to spin Orochimaru around in a circle, faster and faster, and then let him fly into the valley's wall. Orochimaru was up just as Naruto started his jump towards him. Orochimaru drew his kusanagi from his mouth and prepared to meet him in midair. He was surprised when Naruto instantly produced a chakra tail of the Kyuubi and shaped it into the form of a sword. They met in midair and the blades clashed. Naruto felt the pain from his opponent's sword, but ignored it. They pushed off of each other and landed on opposite sides of the valley. Naruto began to charge up his fire wind rasengan. This time, though, he decided to let it go its full course. Naruto poured chakra into it until it reached a critical mass. The ball imploded and burst out in a fiery hell. Orochimaru should have been incinerated, but he wasn't. He had shielded himself from the heat with his own fire jutsu, but not completely. His face had half melted off, showing part of Sasuke's and part of his own. Naruto stared at the odd ninja. You are despicable. You steal others' bodies so that you may live forever. What do you have to live for? Nothing. You don't even know what life truly is. So now I am going to end you. Not if I have anything to say about it. First Celestial Gate, open. Instantly Orochimaru was brimming with energy. Naruto himself realized that there might be more than even he had. Oh yeah, you want power. I will show you power. Now Fox. 4 tails coming up. To the standard observer it would appear as if Naruto just grew in muscle mass instantly. But to someone with the Byakugan or Sharingan it would seem much different. 4 large tails of light were coming out of the young man's back while his claws extended to almost 6 inches long and his eyes glowed with an inhuman light. You want to live forever? Well, that is too bad. 5 minutes, maybe you will make it. Orochimaru was afraid. He had never seen chakra levels of even a tenth of this magnitude in his entire life. Damn it, I must finish this quickly. He charged at the same time as Naruto. They met in an instant, trading blows that broke the speed of sound. Punches and kicks that created their own sonic booms before being blocked. Each one would be blocked by the other, not one getting a hit on another. But Orochimaru was getting tired. He could feel his strength begin to give out. Suddenly Naruto struck a blow that wasn't blocked. Orochimaru had a large scratch down his arm. Steel against chakra they continued the fight, Naruto never getting touched and Orochimaru only rarely getting a scratch here and there. Suddenly Naruto gave a burst of strength and speed. He had let go of his sword and had punched Orochimaru in the gut, hand open so his claws sank into the flesh. Orochimaru went flying, but suddenly found himself not against a wall, but being hit by another Naruto. He was hit from Naruto to Naruto all over the area, finally dropping the sword he was famous for. It sank out of sight into the depths of the river. He wasn't able to call it while being punched around by Naruto. Each blow left Orochimaru weaker and weaker. Suddenly he thought of something. Naruto finally hit the snake into the rocks on the side of the river, driving him meters deep into the earth. Very good, but can you defeat? 2. Summoning Jutsu. Reanimation. What? Naruto was shocked to see a large coffin rise up out of the ground. Orochimaru climbed out of his hole and stood next to it. Oh, how I do love family reunions. Orochimaru smiled wickedly as the coffin's lid slid back to reveal the body of Naruto's father, the 4th Hokage. This is not going to be good. Father. So, Naruto, it looks as if you have indeed become powerful. It appears that I am going to be forced to fight you, my son. Orochimaru, you despicable traitor, I will destroy you for this. Try getting through him first. The 4th stood on the water only a few meters away from Naruto with Orochimaru behind him. Naruto pulled out one of his father's kunai. I do not wish to fight you, father. But if I have to in order to rid the world of Orochimaru, then I will. Show me your power, Naruto. The 4th drew his own kunai from his pouch and did a one-handed sign. Naruto matched his father move for move as they both performed the time alteration jutsu at the same time. Orochimaru was amazed as he watched them clash at speeds even he couldn't comprehend with his Sharingan. It appeared to him as if a Naruto and 4th would appear for less than a second with blades locked before they would disappear and reappear instantly, sometimes hundreds of meters from where they had last been. Naruto drew a second kunai and began to beat back his father. Very good, son, but you can't beat me. Naruto jumped back and, in less time than it takes to blink, he had a perfect wind-style rasengan in his hand. He met his father again, this time shoving the swirling ball into his chest. The bloodless flesh went everywhere, causing most of the 4th's upper body to disintegrate as it hit the energy ball. Naruto jumped back and turned his attention to Orochimaru. Naruto smirked at the snake ninja, but only received an evil smile in return. He was almost too late to dodge the rasengan that would have entered his back a moment later. Naruto back-flipped over the now revived fourth in his attack. What? Your father is one of my special summons. He can't die, and if you injure him he just rebuilds his body and gets back up. Even if you kill me you have no chance of defeating him. Naruto knew what could kill his father's body, but he didn't want to unless it was absolutely necessary. Naruto charged past his father in the time alteration jutsu, which his father wasn't able to pull off at such a speed. Naruto shoved his own kunai into his father's back before approaching Orochimaru. The fourth saw this and knew what he was planning. He did the sign for the jutsu, but never pulled it off. The explosive tag on the kunai in his back exploded, sending pieces of him all over the river. Orochimaru saw this and knew that while the body would rejoin, it would take longer than he probably had. Naruto didn't stop the charge until he had Orochimaru by the throat and against the wall. Remember the fourth, he tried to kill you with a soul-destroying jutsu. I prefer to destroy the body. Naruto drew back his hand. Orochimaru knew he only had one chance. He pulled his sword out of the depths and sent it towards Naruto's back. Just before it would have killed Naruto, he smiled wickedly at Orochimaru. Instantly Orochimaru knew what Naruto was planning. No, Naruto disappeared, and with Orochimaru's sword inches away from his own chest and traveling at the speed of sound, the snake sage had no way to stop it. Seconds later found him pinned to the rock wall of the valley by his own sword. He coughed up blood. Naruto was suddenly in front of him again. You deserve a long and painful death. But I don't have the time. Goodbye. Naruto charged up his fire wind rasengan again, except he shoved this one into Orochimaru's chest. Orochimaru managed to scream once as he incinerated from the inside. His blood boiled and his body exploded in a mass of flesh. Naruto grabbed the head as it flew away. He charged up another rasengan and completely destroyed the deceased snake Sennin's head. It is finished. You are indeed worthy to be called my son, Naruto. I killed your summoner, doesn't that mean you can go now? Normally it would, but I am no ordinary summon. Until my soul is removed I will continue to live and hunt the one I was brought here to kill. That is you, Naruto. Then, I guess I will have to seal your soul in the same way the fourth sealed those of the first and second. The way you sealed the Kyuubi in me. I learned this jutsu from Jiraiya after pestering him about how to defeat undefeatable enemies. He told me that if I were to use it I would die. I practiced the hand signs, just in case it was ever required of me as it was of the fourth and you. Naruto did a long series of hand signs. I am sorry, Hinata. Naruto charged the fourth and grabbed his shoulders. They stood there, face to face. Naruto could feel the presence of the death god behind him. He felt the chill as the hand came through his stomach to grab the soul in his father's corpse. He saw his father smile at him, a kind smile, before his body crumbled to dust on the water. The Naruto's world went dark. Is this what they mean when your life flashes before your eyes? Naruto was once again in his mindscape. He had not been here for quite a while and it had changed as his life had. Instead of being a flooded, dark and cold hallway it was now a long, bright, and carpeted hallway. Each door in his hallway was labeled as memories. He saw the doors as he walked by them. Memories of Jiraiya, memories of the old man, memories of Iruka, memories of Hinata. Hinata. Naruto had tears streaming down his eyes at the thought of leaving behind his fiancée. I found love, but it was too late. Naruto walked to the end of the hall to confront the Kyuubi. When he arrived he saw what he had never seen before. The cage, once made of black metal and evil-looking, now was golden and beautiful. The inside was also bright. Inside he saw the whole Kyuubi for the first time, and recognized the beauty of the demon. Larger than a two-story building, the Kyuubi had bright red fur, and golden red eyes. He looked slightly amused and slightly miffed at Naruto. Well, Kit, glad to see you back here, though the circumstances are less than favorable. We are going to die, Fox. I am sorry it came to this. Yeah, me too, but I have an idea that will save one of us. What are you talking about? All that the death god needs is another soul in payment for his services. If he were to take your soul, then I die anyway. If he were to take my soul, then you could keep on living. Now, if I agree to do this, then you have to make a deal with me. Naruto was ecstatic. Why would you be willing to do this for me? I respect you, Kit. You are the only person I have ever met who would sacrifice a life with his maiden dream come true just to save some people's lives. People who persecuted you in the past for me. I am going to die anyway, so why not now? Besides, the Kyuubi grinned evilly. I will get to fight your father again. What is the favor? You will take all of my chakra and make it yours now. Naruto was skeptical. Why? If you do, you will be assuming the role of the Kyuubi, leader of the foxes and demon lord. It will come with some minor physical appearance changes and all of my power will be yours. It would be like having all 9 of my tails of power with you permanently. And that is the deal. I think you should accept, being as we only have a short time before the death god takes his soul. This is the only way for you to ever be with Hinata again. I would think that you should jump at the chance. Okay, what must I do? Come to the door, you won't need to open it. Naruto stepped up to the door. The Kyuubi's great claw shot out of the gate and sliced his left shoulder open. Hey! Shut up. The Kyuubi then cut his own left shoulder open. His claws were soon red with the blood. The Kyuubi placed his claw back on Naruto's shoulder. As the Kyuubi's blood touched Naruto's, it came into his body like it was alive. Naruto instantly fell to the ground in great pain. It will be a painful process, but the main part is done. Within an hour it will be complete. Now I say goodbye, Kit. A white, transparent hand came out of the wall and began to head towards Naruto. The Kyuubi jumped in front of it, though. As the hand passed through the Kyuubi's body it went limp. The white hand disappeared, leaving only the lifeless body of the fox demon and the passed-out form of Naruto. Naruto awoke floating in the river of the Valley of the End. He instantly remembered what had happened. Thanks, Fox. Now to get back home. The sun came up over the cliffs and glared right into his eyes. Funny, it doesn't even hurt. I feel as if I could stare at it for hours without having to blink. Some minor physical appearance changes. I guess that means I have the eyes permanently. I hope it wasn't much else. Naruto jumped out of the river and came flying out of the valley. Whoa, I guess I should learn to control my new strength. Naruto sat down and leaned against a tree. I wonder if anyone got my message I left last night. Man, why isn't this tree more comfortable? Naruto tried to adjust his seat but instead placed his hand down onto something very furry and painful. Ouch, what the, oh no. Naruto turned around and around, trying to get a better look at what seemed to be attached to his back around his waist. A tail, no, tails. Naruto spun around again before trying to move the appendages around. 9 tails now stuck out from beneath his jacket. Naruto ran back to the valley, reaching it in a second, and stared at his reflection standing above the water. His hair, once completely blonde, now had silver tips. His eyes, though not red, were slitted. His tails all resembled his head, bright yellow with silver tips. His nails had become 2-inch long claws. His ears appeared unchanged, though he could tell that he had never heard with such clarity. I am so going to be screwed if anyone sees me like this. Minor physical changes my ass. Naruto. Tsunade came leaping over the cliff walls to land behind him. Naruto. Yeah. Is that you? Yeah, Tsunade. It is. Long story. Yeah, I certainly hope so. Any explanation for why you now look like a miniature Kyuubi? Yeah. Naruto turned to face her. You got the note I left for you, right? About Sasuke, right? Yes, but it turns out that it wasn't Sasuke at all. It was Orochimaru. We fought as almost equals. We fought and fought, but he summoned the fourth to fight me. Naruto. I tried to defeat him, but he would regenerate after every hit. So I decided to stall him. I blew up the fourth with an explosion and ran to Orochimaru. He tried to stab me in the back like he did the fourth, but he missed and stabbed himself. I then killed him. No, there is no chance he survived. By then, the fourth had recovered and I knew what had to be done. He would never die unless I took his soul. You didn't. Yes, I did. I used the Reaper Death Seal to call the Death God. I took his soul and he died. When the god demanded my soul in payment I was fully prepared to give it. Instead, the Kyuubi offered to go in my place. His only request was that I take his chakra into myself. It was my only way to live, so I did what he asked. When I woke up I was like this. The chakra was his way of passing on the leadership of the foxes, so I guess that I am Boss Fox now. And also I have more power than I have ever had before. I tried to hop up out of this valley and flew hundreds of meters into the air. These tails, he swished them. Are not what I wanted. Well, you got them and you agreed to his deal, so I guess you keep them. Now, I know that you are not evil, but some people might rethink your status as a hero if you come back looking like that. If you would like, I can teach you a genjutsu. Please, Tsunade, can you? Yes, I can. On one condition. You have to tell Hinata. Naruto cringed at the thought. I only wanted to survive for her. What if she? No, she loves me and this won't bother her at all, I hope. Okay. Hinata had picked up some ramen. She was heading towards the Hokage's tower so that she could eat lunch with Naruto. She was almost there when a flash of yellow went overhead. It vanished into the building. What was that? Hinata ran the rest of the way to the tower and ran to the Hokage's office. She knocked on the door. Who is it? It is Hinata. Is Naruto there? Yeah, I am here. Come on in. Hinata smiled. At least Naruto was okay. She entered the door to see Naruto standing like normal, but the Hokage was panting and sweating. Are you okay, Hokage? Yeah, just give me a little time to catch my breath. She just lost a race. I brought ramen for you, Naruto. Oh, thanks. Naruto sat down on the ground and Hinata sat next to him. They opened their ramen and began eating. Several times throughout the meal Hinata felt something brush her shoulder. When she looked around she saw nothing. Naruto hadn't even stopped eating. Another time it felt as if her shoulders were being caressed by something, but she couldn't see anything. Naruto finished eating and waited as Hinata finished. Hinata, I fought Orochimaru last night. What happened? Are you alright? Yes, I am fine. Well, kind of, but Orochimaru is dead now. Only Tsunade and me know about it. You see, something happened during the fight that sort of changed me. I mean, I am the same Naruto but I look a little different. You don't look different to me, Naruto. I have myself under a very powerful genjutsu. You don't need to hide from me, Naruto. I love you no matter what. Naruto smiled at her, but still looked slightly nervous. Yeah, but it is the rest of the town I am worried about. You see, the Kyuubi inside of me died to save me from a jutsu I used. In return for saving me, I needed to take his job. So I did, but it came with some physical changes as well. Naruto, as long as I live I can't help but love you. I never cared how you looked. Okay, well here is the new me. Naruto released his genjutsu. Hinata stared at him for a second before starting to giggle. What is it? Those tails, they make you look so cute. Hinata couldn't help but break out laughing. Naruto was the one who had been brushing his tails against her. Even in secrecy he was holding her shoulders. Well, I guess they do. Naruto smiled as his fiancée didn't stop giggling and Tsunade smiled. True love. The end. Folks, it has been fun. Now, do you want a sequel? I deliberately left one bad guy still out there and I never did the wedding. What will I do? Why don't you tell me what to do? If you want me to write the sequel, just put it in a review. I will write it as soon as my Twilight Princess FIC is done. If not, then I move on to my Inuyasha FIC. I have another good idea for a Naruto fan FIC, but that will come later I think. Besides the whole Naruto Hinata pairing, I also like 1010. She just rocks. Now combine her with Naruto and you get something that I haven't written yet. It will probably be canon, except I will add childhood experiences and change a few things later on. Okay, thanks for reading and don't stop. Check out my Star Wars FIC, too, if you like that.